Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. Today, we're talking about Final Fantasy IX. I'm your host,
Yeah.
Rick, and joining us is our host, Devon. Say hello.
Yes. Hello. I'm looking forward to today. It's my favorite.
It is, yeah. Before we get too far into that, let's start off with our good old nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And I had one earlier, but I've forgotten it. I'll see if I can remember it while you ask me yours.
My question is very simple. You're given the keys to the Dissidia name, which means you get to make a crossover Final Fantasy game. What do you do with these keys?
Ooh. Add additional characters from games that haven't been represented very well, like tactics characters and stuff like that. Like Defafu's a pretty good start because it's got damn near everybody apart from like Amarant, Quina, and Riku. Um, I kind of would want to make a like long form RPG where you get characters, you send them on different missions. You might have to split into different teams, hopefully ones that are not number themed. So, like, you might have a team of pirates, you might have a team of ninjas, you might have a team of thieves going to do certain things. And I think that would be a cool way of dividing things up and being fun about it.
Okay. So when I say Dissidia, I just mean the name. I don't mean any particular version of it because the Opera Omnia game has the Dissidia tag.
Yeah,
So it's pretty
yeah,
much just an algorithm for crossover games between the Final Fantasy franchises.
yeah. So the old fighting games had a bit more RPG in it than the arcade fighter.
I
The
did play the
arcade
original
fighter,
PSP game. That was pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty good, yeah. And then they did the revamp where it was the same game, but you got a prequel as well, so it gave you a bit more context as to like why Kuja has no characterization. Oh, it's because he used to be a good guy and he got killed by a bad guy, and then he got like gaslighted into being evil.
Okay.
Yeah. Dissidia first, that is, anyway. And
Hmm.
how and another one is Golbear's, like he was just like a straight up villain. He got killed by the heroes, and then when he reincarnated, he was basically a hero, but he happened to be on the villain's side, and that was useful. Standard Golbez fashion.
I was gonna say I don't know much about Go Bears because I've not played that game, but my understanding is that's pretty much his arc anyway.
Yeah. That he's basically pretending to be a villain for the longest time. Oh no! To start with, he's a real villain because he's been brainwashed,
Yeah,
and he does real villainous things.
he's Pessel's brother, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. His
Spoilers.
name's apparently Theodore, but nobody remembers that.
Go Bears is a bit
Everybody,
more iconic.
yeah, everyone remembers Golbez. Everyone remembers the Golbez armor. Nobody remembers Theodore with his armor off.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd make up more of a long form RPG that is more of an RPG, maybe with more exploration, open world. But the amount of open world that you get with the PlayStation era games is enough for me, which is pretty close to full open world, but like there's certain bits that are gated behind progress. So getting an airship, getting a boat, getting a ladder, I think was one thing at one point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I still haven't remembered the one that I had for you, which is a bit of a pain in the ass.
Think of a question, motherfucker. I don't care if it's the same one as you thought of.
No, it was. I think it was a good one. Oh no, yeah, here we are. I think it's one you asked me in the past, because it's the kind of thing that would get asked.
Of course, it's
You
a
have,
good question then. If I asked
yeah,
it, go on.
you have to duel death for your soul. What game do you pick?
I don't think I ever asked this question. I
It doesn't
don't.
have to be a game. It can be any contest of skill, will, or anything. But like most people would pick a game.
Yeah, I don't think I'm good enough at anything to win my soul in it. That's the thing. Like, I don't excel at anything to that degree, at least.
Mm-hmm. Fair
So,
enough.
so it's not really fair, is it?
Well, I have a different answer to this. And it's that if you are dueling death, then it does mean that there is definitely an afterlife. So I just would choose not to duel.
Okay. That doesn't necessarily
But yeah,
mean that doesn't mean there's an afterlife. That just means there's a physical or rather a metaphysical being that heckens you on to death. That doesn't mean there's an afterlife for definite. You're making assumptions.
Well, yeah, fair enough. It's just, if some myths are true, then that means probably more of them are maybe true.
If you want to put that amount of faith in fairy tales, sure.
Yeah.
I'm. I don't know, man. Like I said, there's nothing I'm good enough at to duel death. It doesn't feel like death would accept a duel. That feels like more of the devil's shtick.
Well, normally you can challenge death to something.
Can you? Is that confirmed?
Allegedly.
Bollocks.
Within the confines of stories, that's allegedly one of the things that you're meant to be able to do. However, this is it's a fictitious reading of something that's meant to explain something profound in humanity, which, I'm not going to go too much further on that.
The only time I've ever seen this happen was in the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, where they challenged him to a limbo contest, and then they cheated, and yet they still claim they won.
Is that episode 1 as well?
It's episode 1. It's why Grim doesn't just fucking murk Billy and Mandy at every opportunity he gets. It's also why he's Jamaican, to explain that he's good at limbo.
Yeah. They also do it in The Sims.
In The Sims?
If one of your guys dies, death comes around, and one of your other people who's alive can duel death for the soul of the person who's passed away.
So we're basing this question on the canon of Billy and Mandy and The Sims.
Yeah.
I feel like your logic's flawed.
Yep. Yeah, maybe it is.
Like, your only chance really is... I know someone once wrote out a really long-winded fucking... Oh, I'll challenge death to a game to extend my life. What game's going to be? D&D. I'll be the DM and I'll make it last forever. And it's like, yeah, very good. Very funny. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. It's even worse if that's all that person did in their life. So then it's an infinite lifespan at that point.
Yeah, well, but they went on to say that like they start one session and then 3 hours later they go, okay, come back next week. And it's like, death is a metaphysical being. Why would he agree to this? Oh, because I'm that good of a fucking DM. And it's like, bollocks, are you? No one is that good of a DM.
No. You're not a better DM than death is a player.
Bollocks.
But yeah, we've waffled about fictitious death for long enough.
I'm bothered. I feel cheated out of a question, motherfucker. That was crap.
Yeah, well, this is how it goes sometimes, and normally with mine. But we're going to talk about Final Fantasy IX, and this wasn't my first Final Fantasy, but I got it kind of close to when it was new. How about you? How close to new was it when you got it?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it was pre-PS2, so it must have been... Because, FF9 was kind of on the cusp.
Yeah.
It was when the PS1 was dying.
Yeah. I think it was like a year before the PS2 came out. Like, the PS2 had already been announced, and people kind of... I've seen that it had the lowest sales of any of the PlayStation main numbered Final Fantasies.
Well, literally, FF9 came out in 2000 and FF10 came out in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So FF9 was the last one on the PS1 and FF10 was the first on the PS2.
Yeah.
So you can kind of assume that both games were probably being worked on at the same time at a certain point.
More or less.
So it makes sense because the PS2 is a different bit of hardware, so you can assume that people would have different skills to actually get used to the tech at the time. I'm waffling a bit, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, totally. There's also the trivia that FF9 might have been meant for the PS2 at one point.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
So sorry, I disagree. Also, I think my face might be really lit up because my notepad is so white.
Yeah, I made my notepad little.
That's a genius idea. Let's do that, shall we?
Yeah, I made my notepad little and then scroll it.
Yeah, even little, it lights my face up like I'm a ghost. Hang on, that's it minimized. And then as soon as it comes back up, boom. and and that's with it only taking up like half the screen. It's not even that big.
Yeah.
Can we light up? Yeah, look, I can light up the left-hand side of my face if I do that, and then just. Oh Jesus. But yeah, I cannot understate how much I like this game. Whenever I go to conventions, if a stall is selling FF9 art books or merchandise in any form, because it's somewhat rare, because it's not as popular as 8 or 7 by any fucking degree. Even 10 is more popular. Let's be real. And I fucking snap that shit up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because here's the thing, it's partly generic fantasy, but also really stylized.
It's very steampunk.
Or mist punk.
But yeah, I even own some art. Like, no, these characters don't get fan art. They just don't. They're just not that popular for some fucking. Well, yeah, you kind of touched on it with the release being a bit fucky, but like I've got a piece of Freya on my wall. I can't show you. I'm not in my room, but I got an artwork.
These aren't your walls.
I got artwork of Freya in a cool battle pose, and I've got artwork of Black Waltz number 3.
Yeah.
However, the person selling the artwork said, "Oh yeah, it's Vivi," and I was doing that thing where I'm like, "Don't be that nerd that corrects the guy. Don't be that nerd that corrects the guy." So I just went, "Yeah," and moved on with my life. But most importantly, there's art books, or actually a collection of design notes called the Final Fantasy Ultimate Archive.
Okay.
Volume 2 is one of the ones I own.
Sure.
It contains the some design notes and artwork of FF9 as well as 8 and 7. You might be wondering, why didn't I mention this during the 7 or 8 versions of this podcast? Well, 7, we were still using the old format and limited to an hour, so I was like, fuck that shit.
Yep.
And 8, I forgot about.
Yep.
It's actually...
Also,
gone.
Now that we're in 9, you can say all 3 are in this book.
Yes. True.
So it's like it's to cap off the three that the book entails.
Absolutely.
The PlayStation era.
Absolutely. Also, really weirdly, FF8 is the smallest section of the book. It's like half the size of 7 or 9.
Okay.
I haven't actually flicked through it because I'm like, I don't care about 8. I really don't. Sorry, FF8 fans. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently this was the one that both Uematsu as a composer and Sakaguchi as a director, they both think this is their best work.
I'm not going to argue with them.
And yet, it's the one it sold the least. It didn't get bad reviews, but it didn't get as good reviews as 7, 8, or 10. And yeah, it's just a real shame, because for everyone that played it and liked it, it's a real callback to how Final Fantasy used to be, how it actually, was a fantasy game and not just steampunk all the time.
Like, I get it when you compare it to 7 and 8, because both 7, 8, and shit, even 10, had very unique ways of customizing and learning skills for your dudes. Yeah. Everything was pretty much fully customizable. 9, it's not even remotely. Everyone's got fixed moves, as it were, that they can learn.
Yeah. The only customizability in 9 is whether or not you get the piece of equipment that teaches you the skill.
And I've got to be honest with you, unless you're very bad, even if you're bad at the game and don't get the ultimate weapons, you still get 99% of skills.
Yeah. It's not even the ultimate weapons that teach you the skill either. It's like, it's one of the early weapons that you think, oh, this is an RPG, I might as well sell this. And you go, oh shit, I can't buy that again. And it taught me a really useful skill early on.
I can't really think of any of those off the top of my head, though. Not for 9.
At least 1 or 2 of those before I realised that I had to learn. Oh no.
Oh, okay. When I first played the game, I did very quickly go, this number is bigger than that number. Boom. Before realising that you needed to keep it for X amount of turns. Also, it explains why bosses give you a shit ton of AP and no experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. And for anybody that hasn't played the game, you learn your moves from your gear.
And
it's a really nice way of, rounding yourself out. You get the move while you have the gear.
Yes.
And once you master it, you can wear anything else and ostensibly learn something else while you have the new thing equipped.
Yep.
And apparently, didn't you get the best summon thing from a pumice stone?
That's a bit weird. That one is. You get the ultimate, and I'm using air quotes here. Summon is Arc in FF9 because you can't get Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander just is.
there's two pumic stones in the game.
One of them's from Ozma,
and the other one is from Arc because you fight Arc very early on, actually. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And you need to synthesize the two. And to synthesize the two, you have to beat another optional boss that we've already mentioned. I don't know if we mentioned it on camera, though. Hades.
Yeah. So Hades was also potentially meant to be the final boss.
It would have made about as much sense as the actual final boss we got, so...
Probably would have made more sense because, like, having Hades be the boss of Garland kind of makes sense to a degree.
No, it doesn't. At all.
Fair enough.
Garland doesn't work for anyone.
Well, he works for the Terrans. And he might have been created by them, or he might be one.
It's the other way around, bro. He created the Terrans.
Okay, wasn't there an original...
Oh, wait, sorry. He created the genomes, which house the souls of Terrans, but,
Yeah.
I don't think he works for them so much as... It's very odd, because they don't outright state why he does what he does. It's probably safe to assume that he himself was probably part of this race and saw it as the only way to extend the lifespan of the race.
Yeah, it's possible that he is one. It's possible he was made by them. We don't know.
I don't think he was made by them. It'd be so... We're going to make you so you can then make this. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, we've only got enough time to make one. We're going to give you all of our creativity. Go.
Yeah, I don't... Nah. Also, it's Garland. It's an FF1 reference.
Yeah, he was originally meant to look like the FF1 Garland as well, but they decided, no, let's make him look, like a boss.
Put a fucking helmet on him and he looks like Garland, so it's fine. His armor doesn't look that much different, does it?
Nah, yeah, fair enough. He looks a bit more like Vader with his armor on, because it's like black and it's got like a yellow tit in the middle. Not a yellow, a red little nipple that's like a little gem.
It depends how much health he's got.
But yeah, we start with Tantalus.
Before we get into plot, can we just run through the characters?
Okay. I was going to tie them in together a little bit, but yeah, sure. We got Zidane. He's the main character. He's a tiny little Sun Wukong. And this was the time when I had a PlayStation, but I didn't have the internet, so I didn't know what Sun Wukong was. So, guy with tail and stick, because most of his daggers turn into a double saber, was a new concept to me.
Yeah, fair. I don't know why you're comparing him to Sun Wukong other than artificial visual clues, I guess.
Well, he's a tailed humanoid that uses a staff as a weapon.
It's not a staff. He uses daggers and/or thief swords.
He uses daggers, and half the time he assembles them into a double saber, which is basically a staff with swords on it.
You're clutching at straws for that one.
I mean, how many other monkey-flavored things do you know? Goku, he's also Wukong.
I just don't see the similarity.
Okay.
Have you read Journey to the West?
No.
It's not quite the same, I'll tell you that. And that's Sun Wukong's fucking thing.
Yep.
But
he's a thief.
He is a thief. Just very quickly, each character has their own little quote they have on the title screen if you leave the game running without loading or new game.
Yeah.
They're all very simplistic. They're all just one line, and Zidane's is the most simple of all and outlines the character the best way possible. And it's just, you don't need a reason to help people.
Yep. Okay. And that's pretty wholesome. Like, for a thief who are meant to be, a little bit morally bankrupt, having that as your, like, core virtue is a pretty good thing. It's a pretty good way to ground the character in, oh yeah, I should root for this person. I should actually like them.
And like, we're going to jump a bit further forward here, a bit ahead in the timeline. It's very odd in that I always called him Zidane. I know you're saying Zidane because that's technically the correct way of saying it, but I've always pronounced it differently. He's actually the Angel of Death.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
He was designed... I guess he is kind of like Goku. He was kind of designed to get sent to Gaia and wipe shit out.
Yeah.
But instead he gets adopted by a lovable gang of thieves and gets taught morals.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So there's millions of ways to pronounce this character's name, and some of them are correct, some of them are wrong. I don't care. So
it's one of the benefits of having it be not voiced.
Yeah, it's like Aerith.
That's different though, isn't it? That was just literally a typo, wasn't it?
Well, it was different ways of transliterating katakana.
Yeah, except when it got to Kingdom Hearts, they hard confirmed which it was meant to be.
Yeah, they go back to Aerith. But yeah, Zidane, Zidani, Zidane.
Zidani's a weird one.
Yeah, that's the one that Matt uses.
Oh, well, that's just Matt being a retard. And or purposefully trying to provoke. It's how Matt be.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a pretty good main character because A, he's a thief, but B, he is actually pretty strong and fast. I think the only people that are actually like all the time stronger than him are Steiner and Freya.
Which makes sense. They are literally knights.
Yeah. And yet he's probably the one that you're going to be doing 9999s with earliest because he's got so many options to get Slayer skills.
He's also got... his trance abilities are bullshit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, trances in general are bullshit. You can't use them properly. You can't just gauge when you're going to be able to get one. Because if you try and save it up for a boss, either you'll get a random encounter, go into a trance and waste it, or you'll get to the boss, waste it by it not proccing, and then you do it on a random encounter afterwards. Like, it very rarely procs within a boss.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are 3 times throughout the game, and I could be very wrong on that, where, okay, trance is explained in universe, where it's meant to be a rare phenomenon, but because it happens all the fucking time, it's not. But, if someone feels a heightened sense of emotion, it triggers trance, which increases their combat abilities. It happens 3 times because of plot reasons. Might happen more, I can't rightly remember. But definitely for at least 3 times. First time is because Zidane's got a boner for the first time in his life. He really wants to save Dagger from the first boss, but it's not really a boss. Which is... it's really fucked up, because 2 seconds beforehand, Vivi was trapped inside it. Wait, hang on. No, other way around. Ignore me. He goes into trance when Dagger's... when Garnet's inside it, but it doesn't when Vivi's inside it, is basically all I'm saying.
Don't have a boner for Vivi. Vivi's just a friend.
Fun fact, in that fucking guidebook I was talking to you about, it was like, Vivi's age, unknown, appears 9.
Yeah. For some reason, they give him the ideology that he's like a 9-year-old, but like he's probably like 2 months old or so.
Yeah, it's weird. But the second time we see Trance because of plot reasons is actually Vivi.
Mm-hmm.
Vivi's just found other creatures like him for the first time. And it's when Black Waltz number 3 is also on the ship and starts just fucking mowing them down as if they're nothing. So Vivi gets his trance moment, and it's really cool. And it's enough to make a grown man cry.
Yeah. And the other one is right at the end of the game.
Okay, what are you thinking of?
Kuja.
You see, I meant party members, but that you get to control. Because the third time is Steiner goes into trance when it's just him and Beatrix patrolling the streets of Alexandria.
Oh, is that a plot one? I thought that was just you got to run around while hearing the cool music.
No, it's a plot one. Steiner's like, I will protect Alexandria and also you, Beatrix. Yeah. Steiner's trance is kind of lame because it doesn't give him anything unique. It just gives him beefy strength stat.
And a helmet.
Well, okay, I wasn't talking design wise, but yeah, he lowers down his visor.
Yeah, he looks way cooler because he's got this blobby face that's like 85% chin.
Hey, do you know how
Is
old Steiner is, by the way?
he like 26?
He's fucking 33.
Oh, okay.
According to the guidebook.
And Beatrix is meant to be like 28.
Oh, they don't say her age, and if they do, I missed it.
Yeah, like even though she looks like she's like 19 or early 20s, just like Zidane, like she is actually meant to be.
Zidane's
like,
16, bro.
Yeah, meant to be like late 20s, which still makes Steiner older than her.
But, I always pictured Beatrix being the older of the two, considering how much more of a badass she is.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. But yeah, should we go down the list again? So we got Vivi I think he's the first party member to join, is he?
He's the first person you actually control, because Zidane's segment is you get to do a combat encounter and then fuck off.
Yeah, that's isn't that just during the play as well?
Oh, you see, here's what happens. You do the planning segment and a little walk around segment on the Tantalus ship.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then it cuts to Vivi. Wait, am I getting that? Yeah, you do that, then you do Vivi's bit, and then you go back and do the play. It's a very weird series of events.
Yeah, is this Vivi just sneaking in without a ticket because he doesn't know what money is?
He has a ticket. He got sold a fake ticket. He got sold a ticket to I want to be your crow instead of I want to be your canary, which forces him to have to sneak in with the help of Puck, a character who is actually quite important, but we never really delve into that.
No.
But yeah, just like every other main party member, Vivi also gets a quote, and his one is really odd, but sums up the character quite well, especially as the game goes on. How do you prove that you exist? Maybe we don't exist.
Yep. And he is a black mage. He's modeled after the traditional black mage of FF1, but smaller, cuter, and with a bigger hat to show how small and cute he is.
Yeah, it's never fully really explained why he's so small.
No.
The only assumption really is that he was perhaps a prototype that never made it.
Yeah. It might be one of those where he just is small because that was the size of the doll that they used for that one.
But it makes no sense because literally every other... There's generations of black mages and every generation is uniform.
Yeah.
And yet Vivi's the only one this small. And
yeah. Okay. You might be onto something with it being a prototype. It might also explain why he lives a bit longer, because like if he's got the same amount of mist in him, then it's animating less of a body.
Maybe so. Like the only reason he never made it to the castle proper or wherever they were shipping them is because Quan Quail fished him out of the mist sea, which was actually just robbing him off a cargo ship, but whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think he might have actually lived for years. Because when you visit Quan's cave...
Yeah, Quan's died of old age, ain't he?
Yeah, but he was already old anyway. He was called Grandpa by Vivi the entire time Vivi knew him. But if you go to Quan's cave, there's actually lines on the wall where he's measuring Vivi's height.
Okay.
And then there's also this fucked up bit where it goes, it's like 6 months or something. Vivi too small to eat yet.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's a Q, and all the Qs think about is eating, pretty much.
Yeah, I fucking hate them so much.
Yeah, the game would be better without them.
Quina is an interesting insight into this weird creature race tribe, but and honestly, I kind of like the gimmick of how do you learn blue magic? I eat shit.
Yeah, I eat monsters. Monsters can do blue magic. I learned that blue magic from eating them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vivi's cute. He's got the character arc, obviously, of he doesn't know whether or not he's real. He learns pretty much very early on that he probably isn't, and yet still carries on as if he is.
Yeah, it's literally like Burmisher is probably the earliest point where he's hit in the face with your dolls and you're worthless.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. Fuck shit. Even fucking Dali, when again they're on the ship and all the black mages are ignoring him because that's how they're programmed. He's confused because he's a kid.
Yeah.
There's an actual heartbreaking moment that I forgot about until I did my LP for the channel, which is probably years ago now, where they explain to Vivi the concept of death.
Oh, yeah.
Except they don't call it death, they call it stopping, which is all death is when you think about it.
Isn't that when they're actually in the Black Mage Village?
I just said the Black Mage Villages.
Okay. Yeah. So they say, oh yeah, these are the ones that stop moving, and they just like put them off to one side because they don't know anything about like funerals or anything.
They're buried. There's a graveyard.
Oh, they're buried. Okay.
Yeah, like it's hard to tell if they the Black Mages themselves only think of it as stopping, or if they know it's death, and the Black Mage that's teaching Vivi is like, he doesn't understand and I don't want to break him, so I'll just say stop.
Yeah.
But like all the Black Mages are younger than Vivi potentially.
Yeah.
So
apparently one of the game guides that you can get lists Vivi's age as 9, but also that he's no more than 6 months old, living with Grandpa Quan for about 4 months before he died.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it would make sense if he was a couple of years old. That'd be kind of cool and make him even more unique than he already is. But yeah, 6 months is fine. Like it meshes up with the other Black Mages.
Yeah.
And also with his ending, where look at all the Vivis.
Fucking. As a child, I loved that ending. I was like, oh, there's loads of them. He got old and had kids. Why is no one else looking older?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Next person to join is Adalbert Steiner.
Yes, I'm glad you pronounced it as Steiner and not Stinner. Now, the only reason I know how this dude's name is pronounced is because there was a wrestling tag team called the Steiner Brothers.
Well, the reason I know it's Steiner is because I did German.
That's fair. This guy's
Steiner.
Oh no. This guy's quote is, "Having sworn fealty, must I spend my life in servitude." Like,
and yeah, he's got chin for days. He's an angry Buzz Lightyear.
There is a great scene very early on when Garnet jumps off the tower and Steiner his eyes bulge out of his fucking head. They don't, but they might as well.
Yeah.
And then he valiantly tries to do the same thing. However, he's wearing armor, so crashes straight into the fucking tower. Steiner is a great source of a bunch of slapstick, which is weird considering the character's so goddamn serious.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. It's because he's serious. Like, you get more comedy when there is a straight man.
But he's not a straight man.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, compared to all the goofy ones.
I guess, but like, I don't know, man. Steiner feels real.
Yeah. Except when he takes things to the logical extreme too far. Like, if somebody is making a plan and Steiner thinks this is a terrible plan, I'm going to make my own plan and do something else that's also stupid, then he will do the stupid thing.
However, the only reason that's occurring, like that shit stops pretty early on, because he does it early on because his goal is completely disaligned with the rest of the parties.
Yeah, his goal is to get Garnet home.
Yeah, whereas everyone else is like, we need to go to Lindblom.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but
everyone else wants to keep Garnet kidnapped because that's what she paid for.
She didn't even pay for it, but
yeah, she just requested it.
Yeah, and it just so happens that her uncle also requested it, which was helpful.
Yeah,
but like the moment Steiner realizes that Brahe is intent on harming Garnet, his tune fucking changes.
Yeah, and it's only because he's close to Garnet that he realizes it earlier than Beatrix as well.
Yeah.
If the roles were reversed, you'd have the same story. Like, you would have the loyal general wanting to do what the Queen wants, and you'd have the the rogue general realizing that the queen has jumped off the deep end because they've seen it firsthand a lot more often.
But it also helps that until pretty much the extraction of the Eidolons from Garnet, Beatrix and Steiner don't even have a chat.
No,
they never cross. They never cross swords until that moment, and then it's just like, yo, literally, Garnet is there on death's door, and you do you think we're lying? And Beatrix is just like, oh shit. It's a good thing Beatrix is also part white mage.
Yeah. She's a good old like super paladin that's got like a little bit of white magic, a little bit of sword skills, and is so bullshit OP at both of them that they both work pretty well.
But she's better than Garnet at healing at that point in the game, and she's better than Steiner until Steiner gets an ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
Steiner's ultimate attack, Stock Break, is just something Beatrix can do.
Yeah, she's already mastered it. Because Beatrix already has an ultimate weapon. It's the Save the Queen. She doesn't take it off.
Yeah, and you can't take it off her. You can't equip her with anything else. Trust me, people have tried.
People have tried it. You can try to give her like a shitty sword that you had like Blank or Sinner use early on, but no, you can't.
You don't get those back.
No, you don't. It's a standard thing in games of...
Looking at you, Minru.
Yeah, it didn't happen quite so often after this, but earlier on in older RPGs, if you equipped a temporary party member with something, it was gone when they left.
Yeah.
And sometimes if that character joins you later on, they also take the stuff that you had on them and then just replace it anyway, so you might as well have stripped them nude.
Case in point, Dragon Age Origins on everyone's second playthrough onwards, Darveth and other bumblefuck's name are always naked for the joining. Yeah,
Jory.
Who gives a fuck about Jory?
Well, there is one thing in Dragon Age 2 when someone says "shank you, Jory" as a euphemism, and yeah, that would only actually make sense to people that had played Dragon Age 1 as a Grey Warden and seen Jory get shanked. But oh well, it's funny.
Yeah. Something else I want to talk about with Steiner very quickly is how he leads the Knights of Pluto, whereas Beatrix actually leads the Alexandrian Guards.
Yeah, Beatrix leads the military, and Steiner has like 9 incompetent boobs.
They all suck, except they don't, because there is a mini game later on where actually, if you would assign them to their proper tasks, they're baller.
Yeah, each individual one like has a little strength and all that.
But it's there's 9 Knights of Pluto if you count Steiner. Wonder why? Could never work that out. But each pair is really good at X thing. They've just never had to do it because the city's never been under attack.
Yeah.
Shit, when you're looking around the castle for the rest of the Knights of Pluto, there's one knight that's constantly running back and forth, and it's really hard to talk to him. And it's really annoying as well, because when you catch him and talk to him, he just goes, "Yes, sir, I'm already looking for the others, sir," and then fucks off. And it's like, that's it? I wasted so much time to get that bit of dialogue.
Yeah. Steiner also has the fun little thing of, a lot of the time when he's angry, he'll just jump up and down 3 times. Apart from one time when he does it in a dialogue box, and you can just refuse to advance the dialogue and make him jump up and down infinitely.
He also grows a taste for gyashul pickles.
Okay.
Which fucking stink.
Yeah. It's chocobo food. It's like growing a taste for dog food.
Not quite. Gyashul pickles are a different thing. Gyashul greens is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, but I thought all the Gyashul stuff was just chocobo stuff anyway.
Not in Lindblom, because lots of people have a taste for it. So much so that someone has a stall and just sells it. And there's an active time event where Steiner buys one, and he goes, "It stinks. It's awful." And the woman behind the counter is just a little sweet old lady. So he's just like, "I'll try it. Fuck me, this is delicious."
Yeah, even in Defafu, he's got some in his pocket. Like he's brought them from the old world, and he's just like got like only a few of them. They're rationed, and then one of the other characters joins and is really hungry. I think it's even Prish, and like,
oh, that's a little demon thing, isn't it?
She's the
She's got purple hair and tan skin.
Yeah, she's the elf from 11.
Yeah, demon thing.
Yeah, she's an elf brawler with like she's got a little tiny bit of hat going on there. As if you don't know what a hat is.
Yeah.
And she's meant to be a chemist, but she spends all of her time brawling because that's fun. And she smells the pickles a mile off and pickpockets him for the pickles and eats them.
Oh no, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
But like they even use it to their advantage. Like it's really silly, but they do a border crossing, which is super illegal because Garnet's a wanted woman.
Yeah.
And the way they hide her is Steiner's posing as a worker and he's got a burlap sack over his back and it's massive. And they're like, what the fuck is in that sack? Because that is massive. He just goes, lunch? Or something to that effect. So they examine it and they go, oh, it stinks. Oh, it's all pickles. Ah!
All pickles.
But Garnet is buried under them, obviously. And
yeah. But yeah, Steiner's character arc is choosing whether to be lawful or good. And to his credit, he sides with good.
He does. In fact, he always sides with good. It's just like, he doesn't know. It's a weird one. It's a really interesting way of going, this character is fundamentally good. They just don't know what they're currently doing is not on the right side of things.
Yeah. Like, Beatrix and Steiner are both lawful good.
Yes.
It's just a case of perspective and character development and when that character development happens. But yeah. I guess next one will be Garnet.
Do we want to say Garnet or do we want to say Dagger?
Well, when you get the chance to name her, I just named her Garnet again.
I can't remember if I said this on the podcast or not, but when you're going to name her, Dagger has this whole moment where she's holding one of Zidane's daggers, and everyone's like, "Be careful, that's a fucking dagger." It's like that fucking that YouTube clip of, "What have you got? A knife? No,
knife."
But I like the edit where it's Flane and Setev, but
yeah.
She's holding the dagger, and it's like, yeah, you got your daggers. You got things that are a bit longer, which are swords or broadswords, and this and that. And Zidane's trying to explain swords because he's trying to fucking be like, all clever bollocks, and like, yeah, look at me, suck my dick, and and me being a smart ass that I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna call her Broadsword. So for one of my playthroughs, she was called Broadsword, and it was dumb, and I hated it, and I almost instantly regretted that decision. But fuck it if I didn't finish. Garnet's quote is a little bit less
less profound, but you know, it's
still it's literally, someday I will be queen, but I will always be myself. And it's like, yeah.
Yep.
An interesting thing I saw in the actual art book that I was discussing, the Ultimate Archive, whatever the fuck, the very first image of her, she's wielding a sword.
Okay.
And it looks a lot like a very thin scimitar, not unlike Terra from, I think she's from 6, isn't she?
Yeah, she's from 6, yeah. That would have been a cool way to do it, actually, because we don't really have an all-rounder mage. Like, she becomes one because, you know, the Eidolons are the different elemental things anyway. But, like, if she never got the summoning magic back, that would have been a really cool way to do it. Like, have the white magic, have the black magic, have the sword.
Black magic seems to be exclusive to black mages in this game.
True. Yeah, fair enough.
And then again, like, I think the only other people who use magic are monsters and Kuja.
Yeah.
Because even Beatrix just has white.
Yeah, like even white magic is pretty rare, but it does seem like you can actually learn it. Because Beatrix learnt it, Dagger learnt it. Aiko might have been born with it.
Aiko is incredibly skilled with white magic.
Yeah, she's incredibly skilled with white magic. She's so much of a better white mage.
Well, because Garnet is a summoner.
Yeah.
And you can tell this when you reach trance with both characters. Garnet's trance thing is the summon command becomes Eidolon, which guarantees the big animation, so you get damage bonus and bullshit. Whereas Aiko's is so fucking weird. She gets double white magic. So it's literally the same as Vivi's double black, but I think that's because Aiko gets holy.
Yeah, she does. Like, she gets holy, I think, not super early on, but relatively usably early on.
I don't think that's very fair because you don't get Aiko till like disc 3. Like it's the end of disc 2, but it's basically it's basically disc 3.
Yeah, it's one of those you meet her into disc 2 and then you can use her disc 3.
Mm. Like literally, the first thing you do with Aiko is the Leaper Tree, and that's the end of disc 2.
yeah. You probably actually spend so much time having to use her before you get the trance that you probably have holy by then anyway, even if it is just the holy stick.
Maybe.
Isn't it wings that she uses to equip?
No, flutes.
Flutes, yeah, of course it is. Okay.
She gets flutes, but she can also double up, and like they do this in Deeper so they didn't have to put in a unique weapon, but she also gets rackets.
Yeah, the rackets that can just like ping pong that phantom bit of ball.
It's such a weird animation, but I love it.
Yeah.
Also, like it's not very useful because they're just rackets, but because of the attack type, that does the same amount of damage if they're in the front row or the back row of the party.
Yeah.
Which, you're always going to have mages in the back row because, magic isn't affected by range.
This might be the last time they use front row, back row as well. Like, I don't remember it being part of anything after this.
Well, it wasn't in 10, and then 12 changed the system so much that it didn't really apply anymore.
12 was essentially more of an action RPG that happened to have cooldowns, really, wasn't it? 13, you only controlled one character anyway.
I fucking hate that so much. And that's also why we're not talking about 13 ever.
I've not played the 13 sequels.
Good.
And then,
all right, listen, I will admit, 13 Part 2 had an interesting gimmick. And it kind of made sense that you couldn't control your party members, but I still fucking hated it.
Like, as far as I'm aware, you even got, like, former bosses as capturable Pokemon in 13 Part 2.
I didn't know that. I shouldn't pull that face. That really makes me look gross. But, nah, you shouldn't be allowed to have bosses.
Oh, except some of them were in not their boss form. So, like,
I don't care. It's bollocks.
Yeah. Okay. I'll drop it. Yeah. Garnet she doesn't have that much character development. She knows that she has to be the queen. She knows that her mother is not doing the right thing right now. And it becomes more and more apparent, as she tries to actually kill her. She does have the heroic black screen of death, though, after Alexandria gets murked. And she does when she gets over it, that's when she cuts her hair, ain't it?
There is a large portion of the game where she is a very functionally poor party member.
Yeah, because she silenced herself because she's gone mute.
She hasn't silenced herself. She has just become mute because of trauma, which is a thing that can happen.
Yeah, she's got PTSD from her home country being nuked, and like she's got the silence status, and you can't get rid of it. You can't just use echo drops.
Okay, it's actually very interesting because she doesn't have silence. Like, she doesn't have the status effect, but what it is she can't use her abilities all the time. She can use magic and she can use her summons. However, it's a RNG% chance on whether or not she can concentrate enough to still get the spell out.
Sure.
Which is better than completely taking away her kit, because then no one would ever fucking want her in the party.
No.
If she can't do... If they made it so she just couldn't do summons full stop, she's still viable as a white mage. But the fact that she can't... There's a chance that she can't do anything is a lot more forgiving than, nah, she's now fucking useless.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. She is, like you say, she's a summoner main white mage sub. So, relying on just the subclass stuff is fine, because that's what she was until she got Ramuh.
Okay, here's a fun one. She actually has her hot Eidolons all the way through the game.
Okay.
Except the MP cost is
too hot.
It's like 250 to summon Ramuh. So in theory, if you power leveled like a motherfucker, you could do Ramuh before she has the Eidolons extracted from her. It's not Ramuh, it's Shiva, because she doesn't know Ramuh exists yet. But
Yeah. Ramuh's the first one that she walks into, isn't it? Like the first one that you find on the map.
I think she has Shiva and Ifrit, and I think she has a third one who's super powerful, which I can't remember. But
yeah, it's
yeah.
not Meduine. That's Aiko's dad.
Medine.
Mm. And if you use that in Difafu, she waves goodbye when he gets unsummoned. It's really cute.
Yeah, man, I wasn't expecting that shit in game. Like, not Difafu now, but in FF9, I wasn't expecting to get this bullshit summon for free.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's not that bullshit, but it's pretty strong. It's stronger than Fenrir, and Fenrir's kind of crap.
Yeah.
Fenrir's animation is so weird, it makes no sense. It's a wolf on a fucking cliff, it howls, and then a rock fist punches the enemy. It's like, what the fuck is this? This is not what I expected from you, Fenrir.
Yeah, I still kind of prefer it to Titan. Like, in terms of an Earth summon, like, I prefer Brothers and Fenrir to Titan.
I think Titan ranks above Fenrir, but Brothers is supreme.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think Brothers has appeared in another mainline FF since 8.
No, which is a shame, because they've got more personality about them. Like,
fucking make it a 14 boss. Like, do it.
Yeah, it's the Ornstein and Smo of 14.
Well, you could easily have 3 phases out of that bollocks.
Yeah, yeah. Little one, or sorry, big one first, then the little one because he's stronger, and then both. Go. But yeah, did I go too far? Yeah, there we are. Yeah, that's Garnet. She gets over her PTSD when she cuts her hair off, and it's a shame because I think she looked way cooler with longer hair. But oh well.
I prefer the short hair look, but it is very much a cop out trope of how do we give a woman a defining strong moment? Oh, cut the hair.
Yeah.
Like, I love FF9, but that's I get it. You want something quick and short to show this transformation, but it's such a fucking lazy way of doing it.
Yeah. She also wear the white mage costume when she's being kidnapped just to make her look like someone else?
Okay. She doesn't know she's going to be kidnapped, but she happens to be planning to run away, which is why she's got the white mage hood, because she's trying to hide who she is while she runs away. She just happens to get intercepted by kidnapping and goes, "Can you please kidnap me?" And Dane's like, "Oh, I got this, son."
Yeah. So it's one of those where I think she looks incredibly cute in the white mage costume. It's so sweet.
Well, considering her usual outfit is basically just fancy dungarees.
Yeah. Yeah, where it's just drawing more attention to a big ass, which Zidane also enjoys. By accident.
Yeah. We all know it weren't by accident. Zidane's a little perv.
Yeah, he goes, soft, and she kicks him in the head.
Well deserved.
Yeah, they're going up a ladder, so it's easier to do.
But it's also kind of dangerous, because they're going up a ladder on an airship as it's taking off.
Yeah.
Which is why Zidane does have plausible deniability with the soft comment, because he is rushing, because it's like, we're leaving ground!
So we get on to our next character, that's Freya.
Freya Crescent. Now,
Freya.
In my opinion, Freya is the most tragic goddamn character in this game.
Yeah, and you can say it exactly through her virtue, that her standard, her basic quote is, "To be forgotten is worse than death."
And she fucking knows that, because who's forgotten her?
Yeah, the one person that she's in mad love with. Like, to their credit, he's fallen in love with her again by the end of the game, even though he's got, like, super amnesia.
I don't like it.
No. Like, you're not meant to.
No, I know. Like, I feel it's not a real victory for Freya, because she knows everything.
Yeah.
And
she's basically got 2 romance arcs with the same person, except one of those people is now gone forever.
Which is fucked.
Yeah.
It sucks. And it's also... It's profoundly real, for lack of a better way of describing it.
Yeah, anybody who's dealt with a family member with severe memory loss, whether it be through stroke or Alzheimer's, like, it's something that a lot of people can relate to. Like, not a lot of people can relate to it for a love interest, but a lot of people can relate to it for a loved one.
I don't know, man. I think pretty much everyone in this world can probably think of at least one friend who has, fucked off, for lack of a better word. You don't talk to them no more, perhaps, and you're just like, they probably forgot I even existed.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's probably cases of vice versa where you might have forgotten people from fucking ages past, and they don't necessarily know you've forgotten them, but like, it's weird. It's weird, and it's one of those not statuses, but one of those thoughts I don't like dwelling on because it's very easy to get yourself into a really deep hole.
True. It's one of those where people's lives are like planets and orbits, and when the orbits touch, that's when you meet. But like, you're not always going to be on the same track, no matter what. So it's like, it's. I think it's kind of pointless to dwell on that kind of thing when it's just a person that was someone that you were friendly with, was someone that you were friends with, or whatever. But it was only by circumstance anyway. And when the circumstance changes, like, yeah, it's just how the world works. Like, I can probably name about 7 people from my class from between when I was 5 and 9.
Oh, I couldn't fucking name anyone.
I was friends with like 4 of them, and one of them followed me to my next school. So,
what are you gonna say to your grave?
no.
But there's just one final thing I want to say about the quote in particular, at least, because it is a depressing subject. But I just remembered someone a saying. I couldn't tell you who said it, but I remember the wording, and that is, everybody dies twice. Once when they actually die, and again when people stop thinking about them.
Yeah, that's the isn't that the philosophy behind the Dia de las Muertas in Mexican culture?
I couldn't tell you, man. Like I said, I just remember the quote, and I can't remember where I heard it from.
Yeah, I think the idea behind that is they have a day of remembering the dead. So
I don't think it's got anything to do with that. I think it's just a philosophical person waxing philosophy. I don't want to get bogged down in cultural heritage of Mexico that I don't actually know fuck all about. We're talking about FF9, goddammit.
No, Mexico's banned.
I didn't say Mexico's banned. I'm not Trump. But, yeah, like, when you meet Freya, she's not depressing. Because when you meet Freya, you're on the eve of the Festival of the Hunt, and she's even like, hey, you're going to do this? She is very good at weathering Zidane's bullshit flirting.
Yeah, because he's also forgotten her name and goes, oh, was it Rachel?
Oh, actually, it's better than that. It's very much implied that he knows her name, and he's just fucking with her, because you get to input her name. You say it first, not her.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Right, well, just as Freya's getting actually legitimately annoyed, going, did you actually forget? Zidane's like, no, I remember, it's blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I can't remember what I called her in my game. I remember I called Steiner Shizer.
I called Steiner Rusty once because that's what Zidane calls him, and it was very funny for him freaking out. My name is not Rusty, it's Sir Aldebert Rusty. Grr.
Yeah.
Dumb shit.
And yeah, she's a rat type person. The Burmesians are all like rat flavored furries. You don't see a lot of her features apart from like you see her tail, you see her feet.
Oh god, I've got to tell you this right now, man. For the longest time, I could not decipher her picture.
Oh, yeah, because it's just the hat, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but because of the profile of it, I'm like, what am I looking at? I thought it was a really fucked up looking skull face with some teeth showing, but I had the angle of features all wrong, and once you find out that she's a rat person, it's like, oh yeah, she's not hideous.
Yeah, she is actually cute. Yeah. Like there's a weird thing where the dragoon helmet that she wears, with the little bit of skull face in, it actually looks a little bit like a red mage hat as well.
Red mages in this game have black hats.
Yeah, okay.
You don't get a red mage in your group, but you do find random red mages as NPCs.
Oh, speaking of, there was meant to be other members of other classes as more NPCs, but they cut that a little bit when they just condensed each class identity to most of the playable characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like there was an elementalist who looks a lot like Amarant.
Oh, God. Well, we'll talk about him when we get to him. But yeah, Freya's probably my favorite character arc in the game.
Yeah, yeah, and she gets the good old dragon type magic as well, which is cool.
Yes, which isn't actually magic because it works in Oliver.
Yeah.
Although she does have that one ability that's 6 dragons, which is RNG, and will 9 times out of 10 fuck you.
Yeah. Tiamat roulette.
What was that, sorry?
I just said the Tiamat roulette, where it's got like that many heads, and they all do different things.
Yeah, more or less. She does get a weapon that's just called Kane's Lance.
Yeah, and that's how you get. Isn't that how you get Reese's Wind?
No, you get Rise Wind really early on.
Okay, and that's the healing spell.
Yeah, it applies regen to everyone in the party for X amount of seconds.
Yeah, and if you have haste and regen at the same time, the regen happens quicker.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, it's cute. So it runs out quicker, but it also heals quicker.
Yeah, but you can also equip auto regen and auto haste.
Yeah.
Which means they never run out.
Yeah, so you get them both, and it's great. Yeah, she's apparently 6'1".
She is very tall. Like the only person taller than her is Armorant.
Yeah.
And even then, Armorant is mostly hair, so it's Vegeta logic.
He's mostly hair and he hunches.
This is true. Like, well, actually, like Armorant and Freya are both figures I have, and Armorant is quite a bit taller, but his model actually stands up straight because doing a hunched up over model is hard.
Yeah, like it's easy to model, but it's difficult to balance. So you'd have to have his ass sticking out to make the center of gravity make it so it don't fall down.
In game, it's easy because he's squatting.
Yeah,
which makes sense because of the way the arch of his attack goes. It actually really makes sense because he does a weird uppercut, but he aims the claws.
Yeah. So like it makes sense to be able to get up from a squat to do that. Like to pounce, as it were.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the next character?
Yeah, Queen of Quen.
Queen of Quen. Okay, everyone else has got somewhat philosophical shit. I fucking hate Queener, and I hate his fucking line. I do what I want. You have problem?
Yeah.
He's such a nothing character. I say he has no defined gender. He can be anything you want him to be.
Yeah. Their gender is eat.
Like literally, whenever they refer to them with a gender pronoun, it's she, but there's a slash before the H, so it's she or he. You can call them whatever they want.
S/he, yeah.
And this game is I was gonna say this game is like over 20 years old. This is before they them was a correct pronoun.
Yeah, this is before gender politics was like front and center.
I got a weird mark on my screen. Nope, I guess it's just on your camera. Never mind.
Whereabouts is it?
It's where your headphone is. Oh, it's the curtain.
Is it the light behind the curtain?
It's the top of the curtain. It's just because of the way your headphones hits it. It makes it look like a smudge on the screen. And I was literally going like this to get rid of it. And I'm like, oh, it's not going. Why is it not going? But it's your curtain, so you can't do fuck all about it. Sorry for people listening to the audio version.
People who are listening to the audio version, if you want to see the videos and see what we're referring to, then it is available on the VowTube. Yeah, Queener has a giant fork.
And a giant tongue.
Yeah. And I think one of the bosses that you can fight, another one who's not quite as tough as Hades, is Queener's master, who also has a giant knife in their house.
Yep, you have to.
But they still just use a fork.
You have to collect 100 frogs to fight them.
Yep.
And that's how you get the ultimate weapon for Queener.
Yeah. I think it's that fork.
Yeah. I've never done it because I don't have Queener on my party. I don't care.
Yeah. The only time I ever used Queener was when you have to. When you've got Queener and Zidane against what? Lich, was it?
Yeah, I've got that in my notes. We'll talk about that in a bit. Which I believe you can eat, actually.
Yeah, you can, absolutely. You can eat the boss. I think it's the only boss that you can eat. And you get a blue magic from it. It's like an earth type something or other.
Yeah, except you can get it from other places. You don't need to eat the boss for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
They learned from 8 and the fucking unique GFs.
Yeah. But it's Queener. Like if any character is going to be incomplete on your roster, it's gonna be Queener, because you're not gonna hunt down everything for every single blue magic.
Like, the only reason he exists is to give you 4 party members in parts of the game where you shouldn't. You don't actually need to. You can wait until disc 2 to get him. I don't advise it, but you can. I always pick him up before Gizmalu's Grotto because, having a 3-man party with no dedicated healer sucks. And while Queener doesn't have any healing spells that early on, you can still hold him in reserve to pop potions.
Yeah, true enough. And you can use the eat command on low health enemies and just get rid of them.
You can, but that even early on, an attack is going to do the amount of damage to wipe them out.
Yeah.
At late game, yeah, that kind of works because they've still got like thousands of HP when they're weak enough to eat, but
Yeah. I know can eat is something that will haunt you if you're ever trying to collect any blue magic.
I do like that when he goes into trance, eat becomes cook.
Yeah, and it's like a way higher success rate.
Mm.
Can't you also do it on things that are 100% health as well?
No, you can never do it on 100% things.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah,
although you should, considering how fucking rare trances are.
Queen of Quen exists, and it's one of those characters where, when you get split up into the magic side and the physical side, you can probably put Queen on either, let's be honest, because they're strong enough with just the fork.
I've got it in my notes that even though you should send an all-physical party, I tend to send Queener because, first of all, before that, you can still use magic, so you got Blue Magic's White Wind and Mighty Guard and whatnot, and even without that, his fork is like the axe in FF12 in that it has no predetermined damage. It's an RNG on whether it does 50 or fucking 5,000.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where you've got the attack stat, but you've got your variance is 100%, so it can do 1.
Yeah.
Like normally variance is like what 10-20% from max damage, so you can get max damage reasonably reliably, and anything below that is just you getting reasonable degrees of luck, whereas when you got 100% variance, it's like, oh, fucking roll the dice.
Yeah. Right. Second to last,
Aiko Carol.
She is 6 years old.
Yeah, she is very cute.
Rick, her quote is, "I don't want to be alone anymore."
Yeah. To her credit, she was raised where she wasn't alone. Like, she was raised on an island of Moogles, and she could talk to them. It was great.
It's not quite an island, though, and also not strictly true, because she does go to Conde Petit and steal shit.
Yeah.
I think Quina threatens to eat her at one point as well.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, she's also got the same unitard on that Garnet has, except it's underneath a set of massive overalls, so, you don't really notice. Again, we mentioned it before, she is a very good white mage, and an alright summoner. She basically replaces Garnet.
Oh, I always keep Garnet in my party, though.
Sure.
I prefer Garnet as a character. Because Aiko is a child. She acts like a child. It's to be expected. She has a hard crush on Zidane.
Yeah, she does.
And it's like, no matter how you cut it, it's not going to work, bro.
No, it ain't.
Not to mention that Zidane has his own crush. But he's also 10 years older than you, and you're a literal child, and neither of you really know what you're doing.
Like, in another 15 years, yeah, it might work, but no.
When you first meet her, there's a scene at nighttime, which really tickles me, where she is really depressed and lonely, and she's looking at the stars, and she's asking for guidance. Just so happens that Zidane is having a man-to-man chat with Vivi at the time. Because Zidane is a man grown to Vivi, even though he's only 16. And Zidane's like, sometimes you just got to get your buddy and you got to let it all go. And then it just goes zip. And it's like, yeah, this is what you just let it hang out and you let go. And it just goes tinkle, 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 tinkle. Zidane and Vivi are just sharing a piss.
Yeah.
And
pissing into the wind.
In case any girls are listening or watching, which I highly doubt, but you never know, that's a real bonding experience for men. When you're younger, less so when you're old, but
yeah, when you're a bit older, it's a bit different. You don't want to quite stand on a cliff and just piss into the wind when you're like 20 plus.
Oh Jesus!
Just generally don't piss into the wind. Like you piss with the wind, not against it.
But yeah, it's a really funny moment, which is a bit unfortunate because it starts so seriously of Aiko looking for some guidance from the heavens or anything, and she hears Zidane, the boy she has a thing on, giving some sagely advice, but the sagely advice doesn't really apply to a little girl.
No.
It doesn't really work for Vivi either. It's just Zidane trying to be like... Zidane's solution to most problems is to show camaraderie in any way he can. And this instance is whip your dick out and have a piss.
Yeah. Yeah, she's also like a really useful character to have around the house. She's like really good at cooking.
No, she's not.
Okay, she thinks she is.
She thinks she is, but she's not. If she does not have Quina's help, she fucking sucks.
All right.
She generally considers throwing an oglop into the soup.
Which Quina would find perfectly fantastic, but anyone else
wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Not if you're cooking for guests, which is what she's doing.
Okay.
Like, there's even the way you get Quina to help is to make sure you have enough water for enough guests, including him. Which, at the time, you don't know is going to happen. So it's very easy to be like, okay, there's 12 people. I'm undercutting because I can't remember the exact number, so we'll put enough water for 12 people. Boom, boom, dish. And then Quina comes in and goes, oh, you only have enough water for 12 people. There's 13 of us. I know help. But he also explains, if you're cooking, always expect unexpected guests and make more than you need. And it's like, okay, Quina. Okay. That's actually decent advice, not gonna lie. But fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Aiko is cute. I called her "damn it" in my playthrough.
God damn it, Nappa!
So every time someone's talking to her, they just sound annoyed. It's funny.
I think the highlight for Aiko is when she literally flies, in order to ascend Alexandra Castle and help Garnet summon Alexander.
Oh yeah. Because they pool their summoning resources to summon the castle. It's great.
Unfortunately, Invincible exists.
Yeah. Unfortunately. And yeah, the last one is Amarant.
Okay. His quote's interesting because it doesn't get addressed in game at all.
Yeah, in game he basically has no personality.
He has personality. It's just really hard to coax out, but. Yeah, his quote is, the only dependable thing about the future is uncertainty, which you would not get from in-game. And just as a side note, in Japanese, this character's name is Salamander.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a kid, I never understood why his nickname was the Flaming Armorant.
And his French name is Tarrasque.
Oh, cool. A level fucking challenge rating 30 enemy from D&D.
But it is also a French mythological dragon, which it took the name from.
Right, so Flaming Tarrasque and Flaming Salamander sound like perfectly reasonable nicknames. They're also kind of badass. The Flaming Armorant is gibberish.
Yeah, apparently it's derived from the Greek word for unfading.
I don't give a shit. That's not what I'm not looking up Greek while I'm playing a fantasy game.
Yeah. The Flaming Unfading. I think the only reason that he's flaming is because his hair's red.
But when it's Salamander or Tarrasque, a salamander is a traditionally fiery lizard, and Tarrasque is and you said Tarrasque is like equivalent of a dragon in French, whatever the fuck. Flaming prefix makes perfect sense. Without having to use your brain to think too much. Armorant was hands down my favorite character as a child.
Yeah, because he's basically Knuckles.
I disagree on that one. Knuckles is an idiot. Armorant is out for revenge.
Okay, Knuckles is an idiot in modern times. In ancient times, he was easy to trick, but as soon as he was tricked, he became, like, a competent rival.
In ancient times, the ancient force known as Knuckles.
ancient force known as Knuckles,
Oh, Jesus
available
Christ.
in like 1993.
No, I used to like Armorant because I used to have a thing for lone wolf characters, and that is Armorant's gimmick.
Yeah. In my game, he was called Willie.
Why? Oh, because of groundskeeper, I'm guessing.
Yeah, groundskeeper
Oh.
Willie. So he was an angry red-headed guy, and
You
we
imagined
used
him
to
with a
do little,
Scottish accent, did you?
yeah. So when he was fighting Tiamat, and he did his like super moves, it'll be like, "Take this up, you three-headed ass!" But yeah, he is a monk type.
He is, and he gets some bullshit to his kit.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of decent self-healing with chakra.
He's how you get auto life. Not
Okay.
auto life.
Auto regen.
No, sorry. You got an ability that's auto life, but he has the chakra spell auto life.
Right.
So he can cast it in battle.
Sure. So like he's not quite a white mage, but he does things with ki that, do some magical things. I think he's the non-magical person that you send to the non-magical dungeon to do about as much magic as you can without calling it magic.
Yeah, except if you're not just using... Oh, I'm sorry. If you're not just using regular attacks as armor, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, fair enough.
He gets chakra. He also gets throw.
Yeah, okay. So if you got any shit old weapons that you don't care about anymore, just throw them.
Well, now, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I've definitely said it during my playthrough, which, by the way, you can see on the Rev Plays Games.
Yes, you can.
There's a certain brand of item which is its own separate weapon icon, which is just the icon is just rings. But
yeah, shurikens and chakrams and all that.
Yeah. They're not called that. But I was determined as a child. It's like, what is this weird additional weapon? There's got to be a ninth character to join the party, right?
I mean, yeah, it's Final Fantasy IX. Why wouldn't there be 9 characters?
That wasn't even my logic. My logic was there is an additional weapon type, but no additional character. It's literally just special weapons just for the sake of throwing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the playable characters. We can get into some of the non-playable characters if we like.
I've got a big old list of non-playable characters. We'll leave Kuja to last.
Yeah. So, Queen Brahne.
Oh, you're fucking skipping down the list, but okay. Yeah, she's evil.
Yeah, she is. She looks like the Blue Meanie.
The Blue Meanie? You don't mean the same Blue Meanie I'm thinking of.
The one from... I might be misremembering things, but yeah, she does look a bit like a big blue villain with black eyes from something. If I'm thinking of the same Blue Meanie, then cool. If I'm thinking of something that I have misnamed the Blue Meanie in my head brain, then apologies for being a fucking idiot.
I only know one Blue Meanie and they're a wrestler, so I think you might know a different Blue Meanie to what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Blue Meanie from the Beatles.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you know the Yellow Submarine from the Beatles? I
didn't watch that fucking shit!
Okay.
That's before my time!
Okay. It was before my time as well. It was from the fucking 60s, dude. How old do you think I am?
At least 700!
But yeah, she's... The first clue that Garnet isn't actually her daughter is the fact that she's colossal and blue.
Yeah, it don't really mean much in FF worlds.
Like, it's one of those where being colossal is one thing. That's just one of those things that happens to certain characters. Like, sometimes to differentiate one character from another, like, this character is more important and bigger and better, they just make them massive. Being blue, on the other hand, I think she's the only person that's blue.
Outside of the Quans.
And Amarant, who's like kind of bluish. Yeah, he's blue.
I don't know. There's plenty of characters, NPCs that have blue skin color. I think that's just something they did with the PS1 because they could.
Yeah, it's rather than having black people, they have blue people.
Okay. Although that said, I don't think there are any black characters in this game, so that might actually be a thing.
That might actually be what it is.
Japan did go through that phase where they changed all of their really racist black caricatures to blue, which magically made it okay. Looking at you, Popo and Jinx.
Yeah, Mr. Popo, Jinx, yeah.
So yeah, that might have actually been a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, it gets revealed that when the revelation comes that when Garnet appeared, she looked identical to the daughter Brahi and her husband literally just lost, apart from a massive horn on her head.
Yeah, so they filed that down, made her grow a fringe, and
they straight up just cut it off.
Yeah. She is under. She's not quite under mind control. She is a slave to her own greed, and she's going mad with greed, going on a good old conquest bender, using all of the ill-begotten powers that she can get her grubby little mitts on, most of which handed to her, like on a silver platter by Kuja. Starts off with the black mages, then moves on to the Eidolons. And
I mean, she would have started with the Eidolons. It's just Garnet ran away.
Yeah.
Once Garnet hit 16, which is literally the plot point at the beginning of the game, that's why they're holding the celebration with the crew and shit, because it's to celebrate Garnet's upcoming 16th birthday. She was ripe enough to be harvested of the Eidolons, except she just happened to run away before that could happen. So much so, the first thing that happens when she goes back is she gets knocked out and they do the operation.
Yeah. And she planned to have her executed after taking all the power out of her.
Well, I think that's what happened by the end. I don't think that would have occurred if the extraction had happened organically at the beginning. Still would
maybe not.
Well, you've also got to bear in mind that chances were the extraction process itself would have just killed Garnet anyway.
Yeah, it would have probably been fatal, especially without all the level grinding that you put her through. Like, she wouldn't have had the health to get through it.
Yeah, man. Just dwelling on Eidolons a little bit, because it's something in my notes. This game does a magnificent job of showing how fucked up summons can be if used for nefarious purposes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There are 3 instances of summons or Eidolons in this game being used to brutal efficiency to just wipe out countries. We've got Odin just destroying Clayrar in a single strike. We've got the worst one hands down because the imagery is so fucked up of Atomos devastating Lindblom.
Yep.
You see individual people being ripped out of Lindblom and into Atomos's gaping jaw. It's really fucking disturbing. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Bahamut multiple times. First time we see it is devastating Brahi's navy when Kuja finally reveals his colours. The second time is they use it to get Garnet to summon Alexandria to protect the city, and then Invincible does shit because Invincible gonna be Invincible.
Yep.
Invincible's an airship, by the way. Just realised some people might not know that.
Yeah, it is. It's an airship in the sky. And Kuja has a bit of an oh shit moment when he can't just control it anymore.
Well, yeah, because the dumbass took it from Garland.
Yeah, he just nicked it.
Like, Garland, the only reason it was useful to him for the extent of time it was is because, actually, Kuja might not have known it, but he was doing stuff Garland kind of wanted.
Yeah.
But dwelling back on the Eidolons, they don't just do good devastating displays, they also do great defensive and protective displays on how these summons, especially the grand ones, can be used. Alexandria's great, using its wings to protect an entire goddamn city.
Yeah.
But a more personal one is when Medine reveals themselves. It's when, I can't remember the exact circumstances, but Aiko is really down. I believe they're attempting to extract Eidolons from Aiko, like they did with Garnet early on. But they can't quite do it. And why is, well, Mog reveals that they're actually Medine, and they protect her. And then they piss off after revealing some facts. And, and then, leave behind their ribbon, and you get Maiden Seri, not Maiden Seri, but Terra.
Terra Hoping, yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of the attack. I forget the fucking summon's name. I think it is just Medine.
Yeah, I think it is just Medine that it does Terra Homing.
Yeah, it's like it's like Alexandria. It's basically Maiden Seri, but in an Eidolon form.
Yeah.
God, that was hard for me to fucking get out of my brain.
Yeah, all the Eidolons have a signature attack, like Leviathan has Tidal Wave and all that.
Dude, when Garnet gets Leviathan, oh, it's great because it's when Kuja's using Bahamut to fuck up Brahi. All Garnet wants at that point is to get something to help her mother.
Yeah.
And she knows there's another Eidolon sealed by the Leaf Tree, and she goes, she gets the gem, and she just goes, no, not this one. Because it's Leviathan. Leviathan could probably fuck up Bahamut in that particular environment, because it's a sea.
Yeah,
but not without also crushing the entire Alexandrian fleet.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody who has any chance of surviving will have no chance of surviving if Leviathan is, like, doing its best.
Mm-hmm.
That's also the time when Brahi gets her only lines that are, free from greed. When she's dying on the shore.
When she's dying, you also get a monologue or an internal monologue of Vivi, who, up to that point, Brahi has been the enemy of him and all the Black Mages, forcing them to do the things, act as nothing but mindless golems. And it's an entire dialogue in his head pretty much just saying how I should feel happy, I should feel good, but all I can see is Garnet crying over her mother.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the time, that is the perspective. Like, as you say, it's difficult to feel good about a human being dying. Especially when you're seeing the effects that it's having on the people that they are important to. Like, yeah, there are a few human beings that no one's gonna mourn, but that's
yeah, looking at you, Putler.
But that's because of a lifetime of evil, like. But yeah, I guess the next one will probably be Garland.
Garland is such a minor player in this game. It's so baffling.
He looks so much like Ramuh in this as well.
I think that's just because they've only got one old man face to use.
Yeah. They've got one old man face. He's got a big nose because your nose keeps growing even after you die, and a big giant fucking bushy beard, and a big giant fucking lock of hair apart from on top of the head where it's completely bald.
There's also a really weird point in this game where Garland gets straight up fucking murdered by the party. Well, not by the party. The party weakens him, and then Kuja is implied to do the finishing blow.
Yeah, the villain does the dirty work.
and then Garland goes and joins the Force and helps the party via Force waves.
Well, yeah, but that's because, like, by the end of the game, Kuja wants to end existence, and Garland's like, no, I don't want that. So he's helping the party to preserve existence, and yet he's still completely non-apologetic about what he's done, what his intentions were, and if he had another chance, he'd just do the same but better.
Yeah, if I had another chance, I would not make Kuja or Zidane because they're both fuck-ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kuja, speaking about prototypes, Kuja was the original Angel of Death. And he was under the impression that he would live forever. And as a final fuck you when Garland dies, he actually reveals to Kuja that actually you're defective and you're going to die at 25. And that makes Kuja snap and essentially go, well, if I'm going to die, everyone else is also going to die. Yeah, because what's the point in the world if I'm not in it?
Yeah, absolutely. He's like remembering that he is under 25. Like he's 22 or something.
I believe he's actually 24, and that's why it scares the shit out of him.
Yeah, like that's still not exactly 100% mature.
Okay, it's one of those really weird things where he's 24. But they make it a point to point out in the guide, not the guide, but the book that I mentioned earlier, where when he was born at the maturity that that you see him in game as. So he's been around for 24 years, but he's always been an adult.
Sure.
I know that doesn't really count for much, but yeah,
it's one of those, like, never having had a childhood sometimes means that you never actually progress past that mental stage either.
And by the way, this is why I also take umbrage when people go, "Oh, Fandaniel, he's basically just Kuja," and it's like, no, it's not. Kuja is perfectly sane and doesn't want to destroy the world until it's revealed that actually you're not going to live forever. And then his own narcissistic tendencies is like, okay, well, if that's not the case for me, everyone goes with me. Whereas Fandaniel is just, I'm going to destroy the world, everything in it, including myself. Why? Don't worry about it. I'm crazy!
Yeah, Fandaniel's a weird one where, like, he wants to destroy everything, including himself, because he's sick of reincarnating and being stuck with the knowledge. Whereas Kuja, he just wants to destroy things. He's like a cat knocking things off a table. A bit like Kefka, but, you know, he's got a bit more personal control, and if you can distract him with a little bit of theatrics, then he's perfectly happy to stay distracted.
Wait, Kuja or Kefka?
Kuja likes his plays.
Yeah, he does, and he probably would have been... This is the point I'm trying to make. He doesn't want to destroy the world. He doesn't. It's just because if he's dying, what's the point in the world existing as well? That's not fair.
Yeah.
It's literally a child throwing a tantrum, except in this case, the world ends.
He's actually a little bit like Emmett Selk, actually, now that I think about it, because they're both...
Emmett Selk is compelled by a higher power.
Yeah.
Kuja's higher power is, it's not fair.
Yeah.
it's I don't like boiling it down to that simple of a term, but it's literally Kuja's like, I'm going to die, but no one else is. That's not fair.
Yeah. It's not fair, therefore I'm going to make it fair. Except on a destructive global scale.
It's a child throwing a tantrum.
And he does well. Okay, we're skipping ahead a little bit to Kuja now inadvertently.
You brought up Garland, and Garland's gimmick is he is the trigger point for Kuja going full on. I'm going to destroy the world.
Yeah. And he hijacks the Invincible when Kuja tries to use it too much and tries to go against what Garland might actually want. And he goes, "Yeah, well, you have failed me. I'll deal with you later. Oh, yeah, also you too, Zidane. So the party's not getting off lightly out of this either." But yeah. What have we got next? Next down here is Zorn and Thorn. That's going back in time a bit, but they're worth talking about.
Oh, they suck. There's no point in the game where I enjoyed these characters.
The quote on TV Tropes is, "We are in trouble. Trouble are we in?"
They suck.
Yeah. Like, even when, like, they're not even fun villains.
No, because they're never villains on their own right. The only reason they're a menace at all is because Kuja's got their back.
Yeah. Kuja has just installed them in Braun's court, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, it's not clear.
And yeah, their true form is a two-headed monstrosity.
Oh, that's not their true form at all. No, they get fucked over.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's something Kuja forces them into when they fail.
Okay.
And as you can see by the way they look, they're literally just melted zombie corpse with two heads.
Yep. And their hats are now made of flesh.
Yeah, not fun.
They do get some jolters in 14, giving out people buns.
Yeah, I did see them I remember when I saw them in Yulmore, I went, "Oh, that's an FF9 reference." And Matt went, "Is it?" Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I like FF9. Yeah. You don't. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, and this time there are a bunch of cute waifu jesters that just hand out meat buns that are made of human meat.
I would fuck that version of Zorn and Thorn, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Sorry for the can ASMR.
Good old Shtukov. But yeah, they're also kind of related to Palom and Porom from 4, where they've got like the Wonder Twin powers, and they can like combine their forces to do bigger magic. I think they're the only boss that inflicts virus as well.
Oh no, they're definitely not.
Okay.
Virus is a fucking pain in the ass status effect that a few, not just bosses, but enemies can also dish on you. And it sucks because if you get to the end of the fight, it's like, here's 20 AP. Oh, none of your guys can get it.
Yeah.
You didn't have any vaccines. Which isn't how vaccines work, but whatever. Can't fucking get it injected into you after you've contracted the virus. But I get it. It's a video game. Whatever.
Yeah. Zone and Thorn suck, but thankfully they're not around for the last like third of the game, so yay. Black Waltzes. We talked a bit about them. They're the jobber black mages.
But I wouldn't call them jobbers because they're better than the black mages.
Oh yeah. The Black Waltzes are like the black mage generals.
The first one's really crap because without his magical ice sea lion, he's not worth shit.
Yeah. Black Mage 2, Black Waltz 2 is the one that's got a bit of curve going on, and then Black Waltz 3 has got the wings.
The interesting thing with Black Waltz 2 is you have Garnet in the party for that fight, and that's the Black Waltz's target. And it's the only fight where Garnet actually fights one, except for later on when Black Waltz 3 wasn't really dead, but whatever. But in number 2, if your entire... Black Waltz number 2 refuses to attack Garnet because they need her alive.
Sure.
So what they do is, if your entire party is killed except for Garnet, Black Waltz number 2 will cast Sleep on Garnet, and then you get a game over.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Back when I was a kid, I was not good at Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Then we got some other in-betweenies. General Beatrix, I think, is one of both of our favourite characters in this.
She's my favourite side character.
Yeah.
When you get to control her, it's like a dream come true. Because like with any guest character that you only get for a little bit of time, she is fucking OP.
Yeah. She shows you how cool your guy could be if they were as cool as her.
Like, I don't like being forced to lose fights, but I kind of accept it with Beatrix because she makes it very clear from the get-go she is playing with you.
Yeah, like she knocks you down to 1, and then when you're all on 1, you progress to the next bit of combat, the next bit of story. Sorry. And yeah, she is playing with you. She doesn't want to kill you.
Oh, she does.
Okay.
She just doesn't, because like it's weird. It's like Vader a little bit, in that Vader doesn't get involved unless shit's going really sour. If the ground troops can't get it done, send in Vader and he'll sort shit out. Every time you encounter Beatrix, her troops have already done most of the heavy lifting. And like, she's like, why am I giving you guys the time of day? I'm not. I'm bored.
Yeah. And yeah, she's got an eye patch.
A metal eye patch.
Yep. She is dangerous, not disabled.
Is that the trope page?
Yeah. It's got an eye patch of power.
My favorite. Okay, there is actually a really good thing to be said about not disabled but dangerous. In that, it's a trope that I've forgotten the dude's name, but it's a trope that Treasure Island does twice. In that, the 2 most dangerous characters in that book are severely disabled. One of them's Blind Pete at the beginning, who fucking sacks the Hawkins in. And the other one is, guess what? Long John Silver. He's got a wooden leg. Most dangerous motherfucker in the fucking ship.
Yep.
There's something to be said about that trope. It's cool.
She's the only other person that gets holy as well, as far as I'm aware, other than Aiko.
Yeah, but if you're using holy as Beatrix, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Maybe because you've probably not got it with Aiko yet, and you want to see what the animation is.
You can use Clim Hazard or Stock Break or kill things just by looking at them funny.
Yeah, but the things that you're fighting just die in whatever hits anyway, don't they? Because like you got Beatrix, like you're gonna win.
Don't use holy.
I think you can multi-target holy as well. So if things are on pube of health, then you might as well just multi-target and get them both.
Yeah, okay, like Stock Break or Clim Hazard or Shock. That's the thing as well. When she leaves you on 1 HP, she always uses a different attack for each boss fight.
Yeah, just to show you that. by the way, I've got another one of those attacks that can kill everyone.
Her first appearance, there's a random Burmishan soldier that I can't remember if it's a sword or a spear, but he points it at Brahi and Beatrix and goes, I'll stop you right here. And Beatrix just does that fucking hair flip thing and says, okay, do you know who I am? And it's just like, no. It's like, I'm Beatrix. It's just like, and he instantly just shits himself. And the only reason your party, because your party literally just said, let's just watch and see what happens until random, I think his name's like Dan. Burmishan Dan almost is about to get his fucking shit kicked in by Beatrix. Your party's like, fuck.
Dan.
Like, Freya is very aware of how dangerous Beatrix is because she is one of the few warriors that Freightly told her to be careful of. Because even he doesn't want none of that.
Yeah. It reminds me of a bit of Dragon Ball where they said Frieza knows not to mess with Majin Buu or Lord Beerus.
Okay.
And it's one of those things like, yes, he might be powerful. Yes, he might have been born as basically an evil Superman. But don't mess with Majin Buu because that's basically a force of nature. And don't mess with Lord Beerus. He's the god of destruction.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one of those things. A powerful warrior knowing what other powerful warriors not to mess with is a very good storytelling building block, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that, but I also didn't care about that. I stopped watching Dragon Ball after before Majin Buu showed up properly.
yeah. This was also something written in after Lord Beerus appeared because you wouldn't be able to call forward to him otherwise.
That fair do.
But yeah, there's a weird one where she essentially gets downgraded when she becomes playable, but that's kind of required. Otherwise, she'd be doing like more damage than is possible because she can do all of your health of all of your party members in one hit when she decides to win. Whereas when you control her, she still does like 2,000 damage. That's still enough to kill, but that's not like 10,000 damage if you've grinded up to 9999 somehow.
Yeah, okay. But if you've done that, you have no life because that's boring as fuck.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, there's a really cute moment involving Beatrix and Steiner, where Aiko gives Baku, who is the leader of Tantalus, a love letter basically to give to Zidane to meet at a certain point, and through a fucking cavalcade of fuck-ups, this letter ends up in Beatrix's hands, and Steiner just so happens to be in the area where Zidane and Aiko are meant to meet, and there's a moment where you're like, kiss you motherfuckers, but they get interrupted by both Baku, who sneezes, and Aiko, who's like, damn it, you ruined it, and then fucked off. It's such a fucking great moment.
Yeah. Doesn't Baku enter every scene that he's in by sneezing?
Kind of, yeah. Fuck it, we've mentioned him now. Very quickly, the Tantalus crew is Baku, Blank, Marcus, Cinna, and Ruby. We've also got Zenero, Benero, and a bunch of other Eneros, whose names I can't be asked to remember. They're not important, they're kind of just jobbers. But, yeah. The very first encounter in the game is against Baku, except he has a fucking dragon's head on, because they're masquerading as actors. Their theatre ship is a proper theatre ship, but they're also thieves. Yeah. So he's this dragon dude, and when you win the fight, you slice the head in half, and it comes off, and he just goes, take it easy, assholes, while he rubs his head. But yeah, Baku appears a couple of times. It's always funny.
Yeah. We've got Regent Sid and Lady Hilda.
Yeah, Sid's a fucking dickhead who has cheated on Hilda many a time.
And she only found out once, but that was enough to turn him into an Oglop.
Yeah. Oh, and Sid's mind doesn't work properly as an Oglop or a frog, and that's why he can't build new airships that don't need mist. Totally not because the plot needs you to not go there yet.
Yeah, totally. How did he get turned into a frog again? Was it one of the... Did someone try to turn him back into normal and he turns into a frog instead?
Yep, they think they've found a cure to the Oglop thing and they use it and it turns into a frog instead.
Yeah.
And that's why when he meets up with Hilda, Hilda just goes, I don't remember turning you into a frog.
Like, it's weird how Hilda's got the ability to do so as well.
But she's magic, man.
Yeah. She has some magic, but we don't know how magic she is. But it's obviously enough to turn people into frogs and oglops and all that, so.
She's also our gateway into the fact that Kudger is actually very polite.
Okay.
Because he doesn't actually kidnap Hilda, he steals the airship Hilda, which Hilda just happens to be on.
Sure.
So that's why he has the Hildegard Mark II, which is an airship that doesn't need mist and why he can fly all these places, because he doesn't have the Invincible yet. And, yeah, he finds Hilda there and he just goes, fuck. Here's a room in my palace. Make yourself at home. Don't leave, because you'll get eaten by the guard monsters. All right, peace.
Yep.
Also, it's kind of implied that Kuja is as perverted as Zidane.
Yeah.
And that he appreciates beautiful women.
True. Yeah, doesn't he, like, he also pervs over Dagger a bit, doesn't he? But, like, not quite as overtly.
No. I don't think he's ever interested in Garnet for anything outside of the Eidolons.
Sure.
I think if there's something greater about you than your attractiveness, he focuses on that. That's how it comes across.
Okay. But yeah, are there any other side characters worth talking about?
Okay.
I guess Sir Fratley is one that we can talk about. He's more of a plot point in Freya's quest line and Freya's life.
I was not expecting this motherfucker to turn up.
No, I thought he was dead.
Well, that's the implication, because Freya has been searching for him for years.
Yeah. Like, and she's very capable. Like, if someone that capable can't find a person, that person probably isn't a person no more.
Pretty much. But she's constantly chasing rumors, and there's constant rumors about, this strong Burmishan fucking killing things in a single blow.
Yeah. Like, even when he's lost his memories, he still has his muscles.
Well, when he joins in Clara, he destroys a boss that you spent like 20 minutes fighting with one fucking strike.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very easy way to demonstrate someone's skill in that without, fucking up the party in that, this boss, one hit.
Mm-hmm.
It actually brings us into our next thing, which is Puck, who's actually the prince of Burmishire. And
yes.
He found Fratley. And Fratley recognizes him as Prince Puck, and that's why he follows Puck around. But Puck is also the very first character we meet who is helpful to Vivi.
Yeah, even apparently he runs over Vivi every time he shows up.
Yes, pretty much. In fact, the first time he shows up, when he runs into you, no matter how much dodging you do, he will run into you. It's bollocks. But yeah, he's not entirely benevolent. When he meets Vivi, he makes Vivi swear to be his slave.
Yeah.
But they're also kids, so it's just like, I don't think you guys know what that means. Especially seeing as Puck just pisses off as soon as.
Yeah.
But yeah, he even says to Freya, listen, Fratley doesn't remember anything, so...
Yeah, manage your expectations.
Yeah, but he's also a kid, so he doesn't know how to say that very well.
Yeah. He's not heard that specific phrase in the past, and therefore he can't repeat it verbatim.
Yeah. Okay, so struggling to find side characters to talk about. Let's just run through a couple very quickly, because let's bang them out and then talk about more fun things, okay?
Mikoto is one.
Fuck you, it's on my list. We'll talk about her last, because she's kind of important.
Sure.
Alright, so where have we got to? We talked about Tantalus, we talked about Brahi and Beatrix. Dr. Top is the Treno nobleman. He's a scientist. He basically helped transform Garnet into, he took out the horn, and he served as her teacher. In the epilogue, there's a really adorable moment where Dr. Tot is called Dad by Aiko, and it melts everyone's heart who has a heart.
Yeah. Doesn't Aiko also say, hey, you're a nerd? And he goes, why would you call me a nerd? And she goes, you're wearing a nerd uniform. You got those big glasses. You got that stupid coat.
I don't think she calls him a nerd, but she calls him something similar.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Lani, who is a bounty hunter that's recruited at the same time as Armorant.
Under Queen Braun, isn't it?
Yeah, she tries to work with Armorant, but Armorant's like, I work alone. And when she finally succeeds and actually kidnaps Aiko, that's when Armorant has a very soft face turn of saving Aiko from Lani and just going, yeah, no, I don't kidnap people. And then immediately saying, fuck you, Zidane, fight me. So it's a very short-lived face turn where there's a one-on-one duel. And it's very interestingly, if you go back to Maiden Seri, without Garnet or Aiko in your party, which you're never going to do naturally, they're your white mages, but whatever, you can actually talk to her again, and she's like, I'm very sorry. But she doesn't have the courage to say that to Aiko or Garnet directly. If you have them in your party, she fucking jumps away like a dragoon. She also has massive tits.
She does.
That's all you can see on her character model. We've got Quail and Quan. We kind of spoke about them, so we'll move on. We've got Mog, the little unique Moogle that follows Aiko around. It's actually Medine, as we find out. Okay.
Yeah.
Last two things. I want to talk about Bobby Corwin.
Go ahead.
Do you know who Bobby Corwin is?
No.
In the Black Mage Village, very early on, you've got two Black Mages looking after a Chocobo egg. These are there's only like 3 or 4 Black Mages that don't go with Kuja when he offers them a deal. And these are 2 of them. The egg eventually hatches into a Chocobo, and they go, we've called our baby Chocobo Bobby Corwin. I, as a child, had no idea why the fuck it was called this. I assumed it was a reference to some famous dude. And I'm wrong. In that book I was telling you about, they have a whole little section on Bobby Corwin.
Okay.
His name is a reference to another Final Fantasy character. It is a reference to Boko the Chocobo from FF5. But I sure as fuck didn't know that.
Like, okay.
Okay, Bobby Corwin, Boko. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that bit, but like, why expand it into a human name? I
don't know, man. Fucking weird.
Well, Boko is just Kobo backwards, isn't it? Really? So.
Yeah. But
and it's Chocobo.
Yeah. But last but not least, Makoto, who is probably the only named genome that we get outside of Zidane and Kuja, but then they're kind of special cases.
Yeah, she's basically a female version of Zidane.
But all of the genomes just look like Zidane.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's kind of loses its plot point. Its thread, I should say. But she's the only named one. I thought for sure, when I first played this game, that she was going to be character number 9 and using the fucking chakram things.
Yeah, like, I can see it as well. Like, someone like that, just chucking rings. Like, yeah, I'm all for it.
Alas, it wasn't to be.
The game is not for it, and therefore this is not true. So,
well, she gets evacuated along with all the other genomes to to Gaia. Yeah. They go to Black Mage Village, and they have a discussion, Vivi and Zidane, where they literally say, "Listen, they're literally the same. These Black Mages had to work out life, and now these genomes are going to have to, because they're all empty vessels. They were meant to have souls put into them, and that never happened before Terra got destroyed. So
yeah, only difference is that they don't wear hats.
There's more than that, but sure.
Yeah,
they don't really know what to do with themselves. They don't really know what life is. So yeah. They're gonna, in theory, get some help from the Black Mages, who have gone through a very similar awakening.
Yeah. Mikoto has got more personality than any of the other genomes.
Yeah, but I think that's just because they couldn't be asked to give everyone a personality, because there's a lot of genomes.
Well, I think it's more a case of, this is the one that is the representative of the race that, if they're allowed to grow divergent from the other ones, like, that's why I say she's like the female Zidane, because she actually has the beginnings of a soul.
It's not outright, but it's not said, so therefore I don't take it as a given.
Sure, yeah. She's and again, she's been relatively recently created by Garland, but yeah, she looks about the same age as like Zidane and all that.
Yeah, but she probably isn't, because they all come out looking like that.
Yeah.
So they're actually functionally ageless, or genomes.
Yeah, apart from Kuja.
Well,
even he is.
But then, okay, I don't mean ageless in that they don't age. I mean physically, they always look the same. They could be 1 second old or 20 years old, and they're going to look identical age-wise.
Yeah, the dolls. Yeah, there is one summon that's worth mentioning. On top of that, though, is Ozma, and it's possible
that's
that
not a summon.
Okay, it's potentially either a forgotten eidolon that's lost so much of its form that like people don't remember it, so it's just like regressed into just primordial energy, or it's an incomplete eidolon that, either way, it's just formless energy that turns into a circle and is ridiculously OP and bullshit.
Yeah, I don't buy the summon stuff. I think it's literally just a malicious energy ball of pure evil.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I was going to say about Ozma anyway, other than that it's bullshit to fight, because even if it runs out of MP, it's just going to drain yours.
It's also bullshit just to unlock, because you got to do the whole Mognet side quest, and if you miss a single link in the chain, that's it. You don't get Ozma.
Yeah. Was Mognet the one that you had to do online as well, or?
What are you? No, there was no online for PS1 stuff.
Okay, because I was thinking of something else. There was a play.
You heard the word net and went, must be online.
Yeah. I was thinking of something else. If you looked at the strategy guide, a lot of the time they would withhold information from even the strategy guide and say, go on Square Enix's main site and look up this on the Square Enix site on Play Online.
That wouldn't work in that early of a time frame because not everyone had a computer.
Exactly. So that was basically the death of strategy guides, as far as we know it.
But what I'm saying is that must have been like late PS2 at the earliest.
Well, this was the FF9 one.
Bollocks.
This was the FF9 strategy guide, and it was the death of strategy guides because people were like asked to go on the internet to go and find out extra stuff. People went, okay, let's look for Final Fantasy IX stuff on Google, and then they found game FAQs. And because
what's your source for this?
It's something that's on TV Tropes, but it's got sources.
Okay, what's your source? Because I'm not buying it. That's why I'm asking.
I will find a thing. Urban Legends of Zelda. What could have been? Wiki rule. Off of Void in Nebraska.
Because the only reason I'm asking is because I had the FF10 and the FF10-2 strategy guides, and neither of them had that.
Yeah, so they didn't do it anymore because it basically killed Brady Games as a publisher. Yeah, it was PlayOnline.com, the Square Enix site they wanted to promote. Like, yeah, game came out 2000. And yeah, people ended up finding game FAQs and ended up going there instead of like actually using the Play Online extra stuff.
But what did the Play Online have extra that the guide left out? I'm sure that might be a tad difficult to find out now, but that's just a baffling thing to do.
Yeah, Square Enix forbade certain things from being put into the guide so they could withhold it.
Just bear in mind, it would have been Squaresoft.
Oh yeah, Squaresoft, yeah. Squaresoft at the time. Wasn't 10 the first Square Enix game?
10 is the first FF Square Enix game, to my knowledge.
Sure. But yeah, it was still Squaresoft back in the day. Sorry.
Maybe this is what fucking killed them enough that they had to fucking merge with Enix.
No, that was Spirits Within.
Oh, no, we're not talking about that. No.
It was, though.
No.
It was, though.
I know, it sucked. I was so fucking annoyed with that fucking film. Oh, God, get it out of my brain. Oh, it was gone, Rick. It was gone from my memory, and you had to bring it back. Ah!
Fuck the Spirits Within.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it with a fucking rusty rake and hope it gets bloody enough that it gets tetanus and mega raids.
Another thing worth mentioning, though, is Tetramaster.
Yeah, okay. Segue. Yeah.
The cards. And I think the final person you could fight with Tetramaster was Hades.
Gilgamesh.
Was it Gilgamesh as well? Okay. But yeah, you could fight Hades after you'd beaten him and turned him into a shop.
Mm-hmm.
You could also fight him at Tetramaster.
Actually, I don't think you could play Gilgamesh because he'd always just chat shit until you had a complete collection, and he's like, "Oh, you're badass. I'm not going to play against you." Yeah, Tetramaster is the form of a lot of hate in that game because you could only hold 99 or it might have been 100 cards, which is the limit of cards, which means you can only have one of each.
But if you had 2 of one, then you had to get rid of one.
If you wanted to complete the collection, and there are many cases where the only way to get a card is from one means, and if you lose that card, fuck you.
Yep. I think it's a worse game than Triple Triad.
Possibly, but it was my first Final Fantasy card game, so I loved it.
Yeah. When they brought out FF11, they had Tetramaster as their side game. You could play Tetramaster while you were downloading FF11.
That's unfortunate, because Tetramaster is convoluted in its rule set.
Yes, it is. Which is probably why they made it Triple Triad for 14.
Triple Triad is nice, unless you got the like bullshit plus rules and stuff. It's nice and simple. Which number's bigger?
Yeah. Or like even if you're playing the reverse rule, at least that's also easy to get your head around. Which number is smaller?
I can't tell you how much I hate playing Triple Triad in 14 against people where the rule set is forced to plus, multiple, same, and I'm like, I don't get these rules.
Yeah, plus, multiple, same, dissension, chaos.
But dissension makes sense, chaos makes sense. You just pick the card is picked for you at random, which is it really eliminates a lot of the skill, and it's just like which person has more numbers.
Yeah. Where can I put this card where it's less likely to get fucked?
Yeah, I don't like. And also, they got some bullshit rules with Triple Triad in that fucking system where, you know, you can only have this many of this rank card and this card, and blah, blah. But your opponents don't need to follow those rules, so sometimes you got someone with all 5-star cards.
Yeah, you can't just have a team of me and my friends. Like you could in 8.
You actually can, because most of the Scions are only 3-star.
Okay. I guess some of them have like 4-star variants and maybe sometimes 5-star. I think Ali both have a 4-star card. 2 actually. But yeah, that's that's beyond what we were talking about. Yeah, Tetramaster, it wasn't the best card game, but it was funny that you could challenge Hades.
There's a lot of people you could challenge in that game. Which, like, you could challenge Sid before you know he's the secret champion.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't he really good at it? Yeah.
It's bullshit that he's really good at it, because all of his cards are Oglops. Which just goes to highlight how bullshit the game can be.
Yeah. Couldn't you also get different versions of the same card? So, like, when you got a card, it had different directions that it could attack in.
Yes, in fact, every single card has a random generated arrow set.
Yeah, they've got the same numbers.
Including no arrows.
Oh, yeah.
Making the card worthless.
Yeah, garbage card. It's only there to fill out your collection unless you get a better version of the same card.
Which fucking let's hope you don't get a Ramu with that. But like, it's one of the reasons why the annoying video mini games throughout the game are necessities. Because if you want to get all the Tetramaster cards, you need to do some bullshit, including King of Jump Rope.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we can actually move on to Kuja now, though, can't we?
Oh, we've spoken about Kuja. Is there anything you want to add about Kuja?
When he goes into trance, he looks even cooler.
When he goes into trance, he gets the most badass music in the series.
Yeah, he does.
Fight me, I will take his fucking Kuja's theme over anything from 8 or 7.
Oh, totally. Like, Kuja's normal theme is foreboding, which is great.
And it plays throughout the Desert Palace as well.
Yeah. There's a version of it from 5, but then they add the second string to it. They do. Yeah, that bit, which is also used in fucking Chrono Trigger. So it's a combination of FF5 and Chrono Trigger just becomes Kuja.
When you fight Trance Kuja at the end of the game, and you hear his theme, you're like, oh yeah, I can get used to this. And then it just stops for a minute, and you hear the guitar just go. And it's just like, my god!
Yeah. It's like, yeah, this is. Oh yeah, it's Kuja's theme again. This is cool. And then it's, oh no, Kuja's rocking out. Oh.
Like, I think the only final boss theme that holds a candle, because it's just so long and orchestral, is Mike Kefka's themes are great.
Yes, they are. Like, it's like a proper like first, second, third movement for Kefka's theme, which is like kind of part of what makes it slightly more interesting. However, Kuja rocks out. Jecht also rocks out.
Yeah, but Jecht has the downside of having fucking lyrics in his song, and it's just like, and it's just like, I feel like it ruins it a bit.
Yeah, I feel you.
I just blew my fucking, I blew my float out doing that.
Oh, no, if you want it, the other world, it hates you. Yeah, that shit, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both cool rock out themes. I think they stopped doing rock out themes a lot after that.
Yeah, I can't. I like 12 as a game, but I couldn't tell you a single fucking musical piece from it.
No.
Battle on the Big Bridge, but that's just a remake of something from fucking 2.
Yeah, from 5, yeah. A lot of the stuff that I can remember about 12 are things that have appeared in Difafu. And even then, most of them just like in one ear, out the other.
I don't have my music on for Difafu, so you know.
like even the one from FF2, the one that I remember the most is the one that gets the metal remix, and it's like the rebellion theme. But yeah, even then. But yeah, Kuja wants to just knock things over. He wants to blow things up, and he thinks it's funny when other people do it under his command, like Queen Bran. And when she tries to stop doing it, he's like, "No, you ain't stopping, bitch."
Well, he doesn't. She doesn't try to stop doing it. She turns on Kuja because she wants Kuja's power.
Oh yeah, fair enough. It's been a while.
It's literally when Brahi turns on Kuja, Kuja just sort of laughs and goes, "Okay, about time."
Yeah. I finally get a good fight. Here we go.
Well, Kuja's never been that type of character.
Yeah, he's never been like pro fighting.
It's more like, oh, okay, I was expecting this, not this soon. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Turns into fucking what's his name from The Room. Oh, hi, Brahi.
Bullshit. I did not extract the eidolons. I did not.
Well, technically Zorn and Fawn did, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, the plot is a little bit twisty-twindy, and most of it is framed by a serial escalation of villains, going from Queen Bran to Kuja to Garland to Kuja again.
Okay, fundamentally, Kuja is the villain throughout the game. You just don't always know that.
Yeah. He's kind of pulling the strings at the beginning. And when he gets ousted as the main villain, that's only while he's licking his wounds to become an even mainer villain.
Like, quite literally, because when he's the main villain after he kills Brahi, he's wiping blood off of his forehead, and even then he's just like, oh, cool, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah. He's also very pretty.
Oh, yeah, I would.
Yeah. Like, if anyone needed a closet key back in the early 2000s, it was probably Kuja.
Oh, I think Kuja fucking owned that shit.
Oh, totally. I got in many a debate about whether or not he has a tail or not. Like, obviously he has one in his transform, but like, where does he put it otherwise? Oh, he probably just stuffs his package with it.
Oh, I mean, I think he literally does the fucking Goku thing of wraps it around his waist and ties it in a knot.
No, fair enough. That'd work as well.
Like, that's always been my interpretation, because that's what Zidane does sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, we start out with Garnet getting kidnapped. We'd move on to Regent Sid. Is it Lindblom that he's in? Yep. In Lindblom, we do a bit of stuff in Lindblom. The mist-powered airships can't go through mist, is it? Because they...
Other way around. They can only go places where there is mist, because it uses mist to power it.
Right. Okay.
Which is why you're locked to the mist continent, because that's the only place that has actual mist.
Yeah, you can't go beyond it. Yeah, you have to level up and get through the story enough to get a non-mist airship to go elsewhere.
Except that's not even how it works. You end up getting a boat.
Oh yeah, you get the boat to like not do that. Wasn't that is it the Narcissus, was it?
The Blue Narcissus. Yes, well done.
Yeah, the Blue Narcissus. Yeah.
It was a boat captured from Green Brahi's fleet, apparently.
Yeah, and then Kuja probably renamed it because just to make it more narcissistic.
Oh no, Lindblom captured it from Brahi.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is after you've already visited the continent once, because before that's on your return trip. Because the original way you have to go there is you have to go through Gargan Roo or Fossil Roo.
Yeah.
Which is where you have to pick up Quinner. So if you didn't pick him up earlier, you can pick him up here.
Yep. There's Black Mage and Black Waltz bullshittery. And yeah, when the Eidolons start doing the attacking, that's when it really ramps up. Like we say, the one scene that sticks with pretty much all of us is Atmos eating an entire town and just bodies floating up in horror.
Yeah, and then you get that as your own summon, and all it does, it's just gravity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just gravity ego.
Cool, thanks. Doesn't even work on regular... Ooh! Against regular enemies, it sucks.
Yeah. The only thing it's good against is anything with too much HP, where it finally does do a decent amount of damage, but even then, most other attacks do probably about as much.
I can guarantee you Bahamut will always outdamage Atomos.
Yeah.
Especially if you have 99 garnets.
Yeah.
That's how it works, by the way, in this game. You get precious gemstones. They're the add-ons that will teach you summons. That goes for Ico as well, but they're exclusive locks. So Garnet can't learn Fenrir. Ico can't learn a lot. And
she can't. I think she gets like 4.
Well, let's see. She's got Fenrir, Phoenix, Maiden, Medine. She's got another one. Carbuncle. He really only learned 4?
I think she does.
I sworn there was another one. Oh well. But yeah, you can learn it from gemstones, and the more gemstones you have, the stronger that summon is. So it's very encouraged to hoard them.
It's encouraged to hoard them. It's a little bit grindy to go get them, and yeah.
It's also why fucking Odin and fucking Ark don't have gemstones, because they're already powerful enough.
Yeah.
Like shit, if you want Odin, you need to get dark matter, which requires you to go to the Trino auction house and spend a fuck ton of gil.
Yeah, it does.
But it also means if you're lucky, you can get it really early on.
Man, Trino had a baller song.
Dun, 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 dun. I can't quite do the melody, but you get. I used to use that on my game playthroughs quite often. It's just a fucking nice piano riff.
Yeah. It's one of those things that if I was a better pianist, I'd be playing it a lot more.
It would be perfectly at home being played in some jazz cafe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, which is kind of what.
One of those, when they leave a piano out in the open and it's like, play me.
Yeah, and then you get shot by a sniper.
Well, okay. Well, there's not many sniper spots in Leeds Station.
That you know of.
Okay.
But yeah, man, Trino Suffix is the city of eternal night.
Yeah. Isn't that also where the Doctor is?
Yes, Dr. Top.
The Turbo Nerd. Yeah, the Turbo Nerd. But yeah, that town had a baller theme. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and it was mostly side stuff. You had the Queen of Stellatios there, where you'd give the Stellatio coins to, which is just the 12 signs of the Zodiac plus a 13th one, which is bollocks, but whatever.
Isn't that Ophiuchus or something?
I couldn't fucking tell you. I can't remember. I never finished that side quest. I didn't care. So you got that. You got the Trino Auction House, which has a bunch of add-ons that you can get with very powerful abilities to learn, but also very expensive, at least early on. And you also had the weapon hut, which had a monster under the shop.
Sure.
And you could tell the shopkeep, oh, what's the deal with the fucking random behemoth under your thing? And she'd be like, oh yeah, the owner of the shop really likes to see people get their ass kicked. And it's like, cool, can I fight it? Your funeral. It isn't always a behemoth. I think behemoth is the very last one that's in there. But, you know, it's stuff like catoblepuses and shit like that. I think the very first one is a griffin, which is pretty decent, because when you go there that first time, it's just Steiner. And there's a very real possibility that with Bird Killer equipped, Steiner can fuck it up.
Yeah. Bird Killer works on Transkuja as well.
Why? Because he's flying, I guess.
Yeah, because he's flying.
That's ridiculous.
Manita works on Kuja at all of the times. Manita still works on Kuja at that point, but also Bird Killer works on him as well. So you can have 2 bonuses working against Transkuja.
Okay, I know you're saying Transkuja, but it sounds like you're saying Transkuja.
Oh, that's just my accent.
I didn't mean to bring it up. I'm just saying, it's like the 3rd time I've heard it, and I'm like, huh, yeah, it could work. Kuja's gender neutral, bro. Kuja is above gender bullshit.
Yeah. Man, what else is there to bring up other than so we did all the things about all the towns getting fucked up.
If you want to, we can just run off the last few things on my list, and then we can call it a day, because we've been going for over 2 hours.
Sure.
Right, let's get this over and done with then. Sorry, guys, if you're excited. I'm excited. I've been wanting to talk about this for ages. First things first. Gizmaluke's Grotto.
Yeah, that was a shit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is the very first area when I first played the game where I actually struggled with it.
Sure.
First of all, there's these little bells that you lose when you use them. Use them in the wrong order, and you need to find more bells, which just means more time fighting these bullshit things. However, you can get Mighty Guard in here for Queener.
Yeah. This is where... Isn't the Gizmaluke meant to be the guardian of the area, but Zorn and Thorn are like, nah, we're having you instead?
Yeah, pretty much. Freya, when they get warned, Freya's even like, fuck, man. Because Gizmaluke used to basically bless marriages.
Yeah.
And fuck, that's the reason why the Mughals are there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's real fucked up. And yeah, Gizmaluke is the very first boss I struggled with, because you have no healers in your party at this point in the game. Freya doesn't have access to Raise Wind, and there might be like an obscure enemy somewhere that can teach Queen Right Wind, but I don't know of it. So yeah. That's that. Next thing, Desert Palace. Next thing, Oliver.
Yeah.
Oliver is a part in the game where you're forced to split your party in 2.
Yes.
Why does this happen? Kuja captures the party and straight up says, there's an item in this dungeon that I need. However, the dungeon nullifies all magic, meaning I can't fucking get in there because I'm physically not that great. And, go on.
He's probably good enough, but he doesn't feel like it, so... Plus, he can also press gang you into doing it now, so...
I mean, he doesn't even have a weapon, Kuja. His offense is entirely based on magic.
Sure. Yeah, even in Defafu, he's got the little models of Terra and Gaia.
But yeah, it's a place that nullifies magic, and true to its name, if you send a magic user here, they can't use their magic spells.
Oh.
So what most people will do is they'll send a party of Armorant, Freya, Steiner, and Zidane, which is fine. However, the 4 remaining party members have to do their own dungeon as well.
Yep.
Which, if you got 2 healers, I mean, granted, one of them's going to be Garnet, and in this point in the game, she can't 100% reliably get attacks out.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's not great. Also, very bizarrely, Aiko is the prioritized character to lead the party. So if Aiko is left behind, Aiko is who you're controlling on the screen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, very odd. And so yeah, there's that. The gimmick for the Desert Palace is interesting in that you go around collecting bloodstones. The more you collect, the weaker the final boss of the zone is.
Yes.
Also, you get cool accessories.
Yeah. And then there's the there's the upside down manor as well, isn't there?
I was just going to get to that. The very next area that's actually quite notable is Ibsen's Castle.
Yes, that's the one.
Where if the higher your strength stat is, the weaker you are. Which means if you come here geared properly, you're going to be doing about 10 damage per hit.
Yep.
I hope you kept your daggers.
They do have some weak weapons around the castle.
They do. They also sell them at the Moogle straight outside the castle, just in case you fucked up.
However, they're the next to weakest. So if you actually have the weakest, you actually have an advantage.
True, but I think specifically daggers are literally the first chest you go into.
Sure.
But yeah, like I believe that they sell Mage Masher and shit like that. But like, if you're using VV and magical party members, your strength stat don't matter anyway. So,
true.
Also, you lose armorant for this castle.
Okay.
He tells the group.
What about that?
Yeah, he goes on, man, you're doing all this friendship crap, and it just holds you back. Let me show you how you do it on your own. And then he fucks off. And then when you make it back outside, Steiner goes, Armorant's not here. Guess we beat him. Let's go. And Zidane's like, oh, he might be in trouble, blah, blah. And that's how you get Armorant's loyalty forever for the rest of the game. He's very Stenish.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole reason you go to Ibsen's Castle is you need to find 4 mirrors. To get the 4 mirrors, you need to beat the 4 guardians, as you kind of alluded to earlier. Again, another really good, interesting display of how competent the party is. They're like, well, we could hunt these down one by one, or we can get them all at the same time. So, your party splits off into groups of 2. So you got Steiner and VV, because Steiner's kind of nothing without VV.
Yeah, they've got a little combo thing. If you got them both in the party at once, VV casts magic for free on Steiner's sword, and it just uses Steiner's MP to do magic sword.
Yeah.
Cool.
However, it's incredibly limited what spells can actually be used like that. Like, you can't use bio or anything like that.
No.
But it's still cool. So you got those 2. You got Freya and Armorant, who have a little bonding moment. You got Aiko and Garnet, who are like, I think they say they want to discuss girl things, but and then Zidane is left with the realization that, fuck, it's me and Quina. You fight the Earth Guardian as those 2, which is trivialized by the fact that it's incredibly easy to get the ability Auto Float, which means as long as you're not a multiple of level 5, the Lich can't do fuck all against you.
No.
And
plus it can be eaten.
Yeah. And just as a bit of an additional thing, you do actually get to fight all the Guardians, because they show up again in Disc 4 for the final dungeon as a bit of a boss rush. So you got Maralith for fire, you got Tiamat for wind, you got Kraken for water, and you fight the Lich again, who is still laughably easy, and they put him as the last of the 4.
Yeah. And these are the same 4 fiends that are all the way back in Final Fantasy 1 as well.
Yeah, I assumed as much. But they've all got nasty tricks. Like, Maralith has Mustard Bomb, which is the fire attack. I forget the exact thing. I think it's if you do an action while under the effect of it, you instantly get a KO. So you want to have, like, cool body or whatever the ability is. And Tiamat just straight up blows people away.
Yeah, they're just gone. It's like a zoo, isn't it?
Yeah. Kraken doesn't do anything mean like that. It's just a health sponge, and then Lich is Lich. You can actually find Hades in Kraken's boss room, just chilling in a corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the dungeon things I want to talk about. There are 3 final things on my notes, and then we can do the wrap-up. That good with you, Rick?
Is one of them the Iffa-tree?
No, but we can talk about it if you want.
The Iffa-tree is like an undead tree of life. Don't set it on fire.
I had an unofficial strategy guide back in the day, and there was a whole page that they wasted ink on just to say, don't set it on fire! And a picture of a really angry-looking tree on fire.
Yeah. Anybody who played Pokemon, which by 2000 most people had, probably thought, Bulbasaur gets fucked up by fire. Maybe I should use fire on this tree. That was a rookie mistake.
But it is a zombie, so you can use life, or if you don't have life yet, which you really should, you can toss Phoenix Downs, but they're not as reliable.
Yeah, chuck a Phoenix down. Necron.
That's one of my 3 final things.
Yes. Okay, cool.
We talk about one thing before Necron.
Yes, we can.
Excalibur 2.
Yeah!
Is the most bullshit thing in the world.
Yeah, it's even worse in the British version.
Go on.
Because the British version runs at 50 hertz, and the timer is the same. So we run at 5/6 of the speed of the American version.
Oh, so you're automatically gimped by a whole sixth of the time. It takes a sixth longer.
Yeah. So we're we are basically, you can basically only just get it if you 100% follow speedrun strategies to the letter and open the disc tray every time a cutscene starts.
Yeah. Because there's more than 12 hours of cutscenes.
Yeah, there are. It's one of those things that sounds like something that's completely fake, and yet, yeah, this is exactly what they did.
It was in the unofficial strategy guide. If you're going for Excalibur 2, open up the disc tray, because back then it was literally a fucking CD player, so it would open up like that.
It was.
So,
yeah.
And it will skip the cutscenes, and it's just like that. Even as a child, I was like, that doesn't sound real or safe.
Yeah. And it also makes it impossible to do it if you're trying to play it on a PlayStation 3, because if you eject the disc, it exits the game.
Yep. It's slightly easier now though, because if you're using the Steam version, you've got an inbuilt in-game speed up.
Sure.
So, but Excalibur 2 doesn't give you anything unique ability-wise, but it is a stronger weapon than Excalibur 1.
Yeah, it's basically just got infinity stats as far as Stein is concerned.
Yeah. But yeah, Necron. This boss is so out of place.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere. Like, you could argue that Hades would also come out of nowhere if he was the final boss, but yeah, it's so weird that something like that just pops up with no foreshadowing, just expects you to beat it, and then just happily accepts its defeat because it's eternal.
I think it is implied you kill it.
I mean, it's death, so probably not.
It's not death, though. We've seen death. Death's in the game as a spell.
Well...
And it's a Grim Reaper. Just saying.
Okay. Like, it's the embodiment of entropy and all that. Like, like the Endsinger. And you beat it back, and it's like, okay, cool, you win. Okay, I guess I'll give up for now until you die, and then I'll try again.
It was kind of interesting how Kuja kind of beats you with a last spell as he dies, and that's why your party is completely fucked. And you're all on the waste, you're dying, and while you're dying, you've got this very horrible soundtrack of things groaning, going, Aah! It's quite horrifying compared to the rest of the game. And you get to pick 4 party members. This is going to be a final party. And once you finalize it, you they give up their life force.
Yeah.
They go, hey man, don't fuck this up. And then they get Thanos snapped.
Yeah. Before that was a thing. I mean, actually, it might have been around the time that it was a thing in the comics.
Oh, Japan wasn't paying attention. But
no.
But yeah, that happens, and then once you beat Necron, it's fine. The world goes back to normal. It's not destroyed, and you leave the grounds which you're on, and Zidane's like, I don't want Kuja to die on his own.
Yeah, see, he goes on a like a trench run through the infantry to where Kuja still is, and he's there like having a death. And
I believe Kuja's exact words are much like Armorant's when Zidane goes back for him. It's like, why? And then he goes off on his death monologue, which is depressing in its own way. And then it's very much implied that Zidane and Kuja die with one another. However, we get to the finale, which eagle-eyed viewers will see. There's a line that Marcus, and I'm doing air quotes for the people not watching, says, and that is, "No cloud, no squall shall hinder us," which is a nice little jab at the previous game protagonists. And at the end, he takes off his cloak, and it's Zidane, and Garnet starts crying, and she goes to run to him, and Beatrix and Steiner both block the door as if they're being mean, and then they smile, and they open the door, and she runs, and it's all happy.
Doesn't Steiner also burst into like inelegant, manly, blubbering tears as well?
I don't think he does, but it's been a while.
Like, I seem to remember him going.
He might do that when they eventually hug.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, and before that, we get a bit of an epilogue where pretty much everyone's doing well except for Vivi.
And yeah, his grandkids are doing well. Or his
Yeah,
kids even.
we don't really know how he reproduced.
No. Like the I guess the logical way that he could have done it is found a bunch of dolls and just let his mist go to them.
It's not clear, and I'd rather not think about it.
Oh, hello, bot.
Yeah, fuck off. That yeah, it's unclear. It's unclear. It's depressing because Vivi was one of an innocent character. Both Vivi and Aiko are the most innocent in this game.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve to go out like that, in most people's opinion. Like it was one of those that if he was a real boy and could grow old and grow up and everything, he'd be a really good fit with Aiko because they're both kids.
Okay, so much so that when I was a kid and beat this game and didn't understand that Vivi had stopped, I just assumed Vivi and Aiko somehow aged up really rapidly and had a bunch of kids, which quickly got thrown out the window when we get that scene with Aiko in this epilogue of her calling Dr. Tot. And she's calling Dr. Tot dad and everything.
I thought it was Regent Sid and Hilda that she was calling mom and dad.
Oh, it might have been. I could have sworn she said something like that to Dr. Tot. Oh, I could be getting it confused. It's fine. It might have been Sid and Hilda, but I could have sworn it was Tot.
I'm pretty sure it's Sid and Hilda because they don't have any kids, and like adopting someone like Aiko is kind of within their ballpark.
Maybe. We see Freya and Frateley are starting their relationship again, which is still depressing in its own right. Armorant's being Armorant. He's always been a lone wolf and probably always will be. Quina's now cooking in the Alexandria kitchens.
Yeah. And getting to eat all the leftovers.
Pretty much. And
being in control of whatever she fucks up and makes into leftovers.
Yeah. But yeah, everyone pretty much gets a happy ending except for Vivi, who stops, which, yeah kind of a downer. But yeah, outside of the story, the very final cutscene, at the end of the credits, you can put in a cheat code and play blackjack, which... don't know why.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know why that's in the game, but it is. You put in a code, you can play blackjack. There's no goal. So
okay.
Yeah, that's a thing. Also, this game is actually a 2-player game. You can insert a code at any time, and half the characters are then controlled by the second controller.
Yes.
So
that was something that used to get abused a lot at my friend Chris's house when they had to share PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he and his brothers had to share Final Fantasy IX.
At least they could.
Well, yeah, they could, and yeah. But I think they generally had their own save files. It's just that when they had to share, it was 2-player time.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. So, shall we wind down?
Yeah, let's get into a final 3. Do you have a favorite moment?
You Are Not Alone.
Yeah.
There's a track in the game called You Are Not Alone, and it's when Zidane is having, to quote TV tropes, if I recall correctly, his heroic blue screen of death.
Yeah.
Where he has been unmade by Garland. He has had his memories and emotions ripped. Well, less so his memories, but his emotions definitely ripped out. And he's just like, and he walks along on his own. This fucking banger tune is playing. Seriously, look it up if you've not seen it, listened to it before. He walks down the hallway. He encounters a big fuck-off monster. 2 party members come in and help him out. Then another 2 when he encounters the next monster. And the last one is just him and Garnet uses Mega Cure. Except by this point in the game, I'm always bullshit strong as Zidane, so it's a one-hit kill, which kind of messes up the AI a bit. But yeah. And then he basically gets verbally bitch-smacked by the party, saying, you don't fucking get to do this to us. After the amount of shit we've been through. And he snaps himself out of it.
Yeah, it's a very good moment. Like, as far as set pieces go, I'm pretty sure mine is also going to be that one. With a couple of other little mini shout outs. One is that not every favorite moment is always a positive one, and the Atmos time has been something that's stuck in my head for years and years.
It's a very good FMV.
And the other one is also something we talked about when Transkuja gets his own theme tune and it just like ramps up into a banger immediately.
Yeah, man. The fake out, man, got me the first time.
Yeah. Because there's three versions of the Kuja's theme. There's the one without the drums, which is like for his castle. There's the one with the drums that have got like a reverse drum effect. It's like dum dum.
I could have sworn that was in the palace.
Was that in the palace as well?
I've never heard a version without the drums in it.
There's an early version before he's revealed to be actually
there might be a bit of the piano melody whenever he's on screen before he has any voice lines, but I wouldn't really count that as a separate theme.
Sure. But yeah, they fake it out and turn it into a banger. Now, since I've already given you the answer to that, do you have a weakest link?
I'm very scared that the animated show that they're going to do based on FF9 is going to be awful and retroactively make this game that I hold so fondly crap.
Okay, I feel you. Like, yeah, sometimes an adaptation makes something cheaper. Especially when it like tries to instill a new canon, which then technically does become real canon.
Yeah, like we don't have any information on what that show is going to be like, but it's just like it's going to be so easy to make things just a bit crapper.
Yeah. Like there's even been rumors, even since GameCube days, that FF9 would get a remake and like remastered.
I heard that rumor yesterday.
Yeah.
It's constantly been ever since FF7 got the green light and has been in production for its proper remake fully. It's been like FF9 is going to be the next one, guys, and it's like I fucking hope not. I don't like the new style that Square Enix is going for. I like old school turn-based RPGs.
Yeah, the new style is basically you have a hack and slash game, and you happen to have other party members that you might be able to switch to, but they're also playing a hack and slash game.
I don't like that. You see, like Kingdom Hearts is a great game. The gameplay is not the best part about Kingdom Hearts.
Sure, I feel you.
But yeah, how about you? Have you got a weakest link?
My weakest link is Tetramaster is not a good triple triad.
Like, I don't like admitting it because I quite like Tetramaster, but yeah, it's not as good.
Yeah. Like, there's the fact that there are 8 directions and you don't have all of them. Like, in Triple Triad, you had 4 directions. You did have all of them. Even if some of them were crap, you still had them.
Yeah, sure, man.
Whereas in Tetramaster, there are always going to be ways that you can't defend yourself.
The game does a very poor job of even explaining how Tetramaster's rule set works.
Yeah, don't you actually start that in Trino as well?
Technically not. Technically, you start it as soon as you start the game, because you get given free cards by the ticket booth seller, who's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for telling you away, but you don't have a ticket. Here's some cards. Play Tetramaster. However, you need 2 more cards to actually have a deck and play it properly."
Sure.
But it does. You can literally talk to a guy to teach you the game immediately.
Yep. But yeah, who would you say is your MVP?
His name escapes me. Composer.
Uematsu.
Yeah, Uematsu. Fucking banger job on this game.
Yeah.
As much as I love the characters, I love the storyline, I love everything about this game. It's very hard to think of anything I don't like about this game. Maybe Ozma. But everything's just done so well, and I think the soundtrack will always deserve special mention because it seems to never get the recognition it deserves.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we said earlier, he says that it's his favorite full soundtrack that he's done, and he's the one that he's most proud of all of his work. And yeah, I can see it, because there are very few tracks that are not good.
Like, I didn't actually know that, but hearing that does make me smile.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, I'm sure you're eager to share your own MVP, so let's hear it.
I'll split the difference with you and say Sakaguchi, the director.
Wasn't this the last game he directed? I don't think he directed 10, did he?
He didn't direct 10. He's doing another game now.
But hasn't he fucked off from Square Enix?
I think he's left Square Enix, but he's now as a contractor. I think Uematsu is also the same. He's a contractor. He will work with Square Enix whenever he's paid, but he's no longer bound by just them to only do things for them.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And also means that you don't have the very unfortunate Japanese thing of when someone becomes kind of useless to the company, you just promote them to a place where they can't do any damage.
Yeah.
It's what happened to Gunpei Yokoi, the guy who invented the Game Boy.
Yeah, promoted into obscurity.
Yeah, promoted into obscurity. It was after the Virtual Boy failed. They were like, okay, well, let's put you up here. We'll give you a pay rise. You don't mess with anything anymore. And he basically left the company and died. So,
to a lot of okay, for people who don't understand, in Japanese culture, a lot of something that is instilled in you at a young age. Don't know if it still is, but I'm going to assume it is, and that is you are your career.
Yeah, you are your career, and if you're not useful, then you are nothing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that means if you stop doing things, even against your will, society may not look at you kindly, which is fucked up. Don't get me wrong, and it's one of the contributing factors of many as to why I would hate living in Japanese society.
Yeah, they also have very strong employment laws, and they don't really fire people. They basically can't. So one of the ways they can get rid of someone is to put them into a role where they don't feel valued, to pressure them into leaving on their own accord.
Sure, man.
I think in the West it's called constructive dismissal.
In the West, we have 0-hour contracts, so if you want to fire someone, you just give them 1 hour to work a week, and then they quit because it's not worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not making that up.
Or even worse, 1 hour a day to work. So they have to spend their entire travel. They probably spend more. Almost everyone will spend more travel time than an hour there and back for most jobs.
And some people would rather do that than claim job seekers, because one, job seekers is not a very effective system, and two, despite the fact that it's not a massive drain on resources, people treat it like it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. Let's say farewell to the audience, because I wanted to end on a happy note, and then we talk about fucked up shit.
Yeah.
This is FF9. It's meant to be a happy day.
Yeah, let's rewind from job seekers and... Yeah. So, thank you for all for joining us. If you liked this episode, leave us a comment down on YouTube, or if you're listening on one of the audio platforms, leave us a comment on our email, which is
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
And therefore, it's going to be a goodbye from me.
And it's going to be a goodbye from me, fellows.
Bye.